push mute. There it is. Here we go. Hey, John, how's this sound?
John missed the most amazing song ever played.
Wait, what is that? How's it sound now, John? You said hooray. Oh, Christine just said it sounds good.
Sounds good, huh? Nice and clear.
You said, was it tribute?
Right. The first person who can guess what that progression is wins a prize. What prize? I don't know yet.
Is it?
Notice I can only play B7 in one place on the neck currently.
Oh, because the low string gives you a little fart sound?
No, it's just that's where I got comfortable. I got in a box. I think we all tend to do that. Obviously, we're favoring the open position. And then we branched out a little bit and we went up to the higher voicings up the neck. Same chords. But then we had to go back to B7 because that's where we were confident. That's where I knew that my B7 was going to be. I could have gone here.
Well, you still haven't told us what progression it is.
Oh, it's I'm doing the open strings progression.
Oh, right.
So take E minor,
E,
A minor,
A,
D major,
D,
G,
G,
and B7.
Here, I'll play along.
There you go. Brick's gonna play along.
I'm gonna play along.
You gonna play bass?
Yeah, I'm gonna play along as if I'm
guitar.
a beginner. And all I'm gonna do is just play the strings. Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, and. I'm so out of tune. Hold on a second. Wait, I need a tuner.
Take this one. I don't even think we did a test run yesterday, and I was playing Rick's guitar there. I didn't even check the tuning then, but it was out. It was out yesterday. We just kind of dealt with it.
Yeah, I don't play my guitar as much as I should.
And then here in Maryland, the weather is getting really cold and really dry suddenly, like it does. John, you know it, or do you?
Not now.
Not now, man. Wherever you are, hopefully it's warmer than it is here, because it is cold and dry.
Right? He said you should move to the right a little bit.
To the right.
But he's centered. Wait, you know what? It's okay. I'll just make myself smaller.
Did I move? I moved to my right, but was that correct for the camera? It's just one of those things.
Oh, yeah. Good call, John. I'm going to turn me down.
How's the tone, John?
John's our mod right now. John, do you want to be our mod, bro?
Wait, what happened to my mic? Check 1, check 2.
Ooh. John's getting a boner from your tone. He's getting a tone boner.
Let's get a toner.
We were just talking about Polyphia. How it's kind of just whatever, but the tones are good. I mean, I ain't hating.
Yeah.
The dude's obviously ripped, but it's kind of like guitar masturbation, if we're being honest.
You know what? It is a little bit of that, but I think it's probably the most accessible version of that, if you can call that a genre.
Right,
You know,
it's
guitar
music for guitarists.
music for guitarists, absolutely.
Yeah, guitar virtuoso kind of stuff. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that one time we should watch it too. We can even take a peek at it. That one performance they did where they played with Nick Johnson. How their solos obviously impressive, but technically impressive. And then the Nick Johnson solo, it's a lot more tasteful, a lot more musical, a lot more like the normal ear would really dig it. You know.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. I have a different view on that. I feel like you could almost sing a lot of those shred parts. You know, they're singable. Oh, yeah. It's like when Champagne came out, that was the first Polypheus. We listened to that together at the same time. I had that stuck in my head for a long time, weeks. Burn it, da-da. And you know what? There's a video that I'm actually doing that. What's his name? Scotty LePage. So he's second guitarist in that band. Everyone knows Tim Henson. Scotty LePage is conducting the audience, and they're singing a cappella that lead before they start playing the song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's cool to watch, man. So it's singable. It's singable shred, you know? I think it's great. Luckily, I haven't had anyone ask me to learn that in a lesson, because I would be banging my head against the wall trying to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, man.
can you imagine how much time you have to put in before that lesson to actually teach that?
Yeah, I had one kid, he wanted to learn Goat. This was years ago. And we were learning it piece by piece. We would learn like a measure a day.
Let's just take
You
a
know?
peek.
Let's see what happens. We're not sure about the copyright.
Yeah, we're just gonna
filter.
take a little peek at it. You know what? There's 2 people watching, so I mean, who cares?
Right. Well, we'll learn about what the copyright filter is going to do.
Oh, I can't really tell. It's shot very well. Okay, look. Okay, just my cinematographer nerd self coming here. See these lights right here? These giant HMIs out here. They're blasting these through to get these rays.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
See, if you weren't looking closely, you would think that's natural light.
No, this is definitely like shot at night, and they blasted through the windows there. This is neck tattoo boy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's covered.
Oh, that was sick. I don't think I've seen this video. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, I've never seen this video. It's very dubsteppy.
It is,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, they do a lot of that in the background.
All right, so here you go. Perfect example. Could you break this down to a simple chord progression?
Sure, yeah.
There it is.
So it's a B minor
Oh, dude, I love how they did that.
to a D to a G, F sharp 7 something.
John says Tim is eating some burgers as they film this. Look how much light they have through the windows, dude. They're blasting.
Yeah.
Seriously, probably freaking $20,000 worth of lights going through. Look how much
That's
light
pretty
there is.
badass
It's
looking, though,
nuts.
isn't it?
It looks great.
That's
It looks
sweet.
really, really good. They could have front lighted him a little bit, filled it a little bit.
Yeah, so far the chord progression hasn't changed much.
So yeah, what if a beginner wanted to play along with this? What would it be?
So I would call it B minor. You can think of it as D major or B minor, right? So we're doing a B minor, walking up to a D, then we're going to G major, to F sharp major.
That's the best part.
So
The
yeah,
best chord.
and that F sharp major, that's the dominant of the B minor. So if you're thinking of this in the key of D major, that's where it would get weird. You'd have to look at that as a secondary dominant. And
And what is the secondary dominant for those who are listening?
so it's a dominant that normally would not be. It'd be normally like a minor chord. So
And for all those who don't know, what is a dominant?
the dominant is the 5,
The 5 chord.
and the 5 always wants to resolve back to the 1.
Like so.
Yep.
Yeah, always wants to
That's
go
it.
back. Wants to go back home.
So G, especially when you make it so Rick made it a dominant 7 chord. He did a G7 to a C, right? Yeah. So that's like the most tense. It's the most tense chord, the dominant 7, and it wants to resolve to the 1. And those can temporarily shift through a song, and that's where you'd find a secondary dominant. So like B minor, normally that would be our 6 in the key of D. But you can have a 5 of 6, a 5/7 of the minor 6 chords.
And the cool thing about those kind of feelings you get is once you know what a secondary dominant feels like, you'll always hear it.
You'll recognize them.
You'll always recognize.
Yep.
Oh, what's up, Colin? Colin's here hanging out with us. I wonder if he was successful in his quest. I won't say what his quest was.
We'll have to wonder what Colin's quest was, man. What's Colin's quest?
I hope he was successful in his quest. It's a quest that we all can identify.
It's
with.
Colin's quest.
It's Colin's quest.
But the simpler way to think about this one probably is B harmonic minor, because that covers the F sharp major. You know, you get the leading tone. You hear that lick in there quite a bit, though. And that's the harmonic minor. If it wasn't harmonic minor, it'd be like.
Yes, and once again, tell everybody, remind everybody what harmonic minor is.
So harmonic minor is a natural minor scale with a raised seventh. So you get the leading tone, and the leading tone is the 7 to the 1. It's the major 7 back to the 1. Yeah.
And even right there, just playing the scale, it sounds so identifiable.
Yeah,
And
it
once
is.
again, once you kind of recognize that flavor, you'll always hear it. And
Even the leading tone by itself, because we're talking about how a dominant 7 chord holds tension that wants to release to the 1. The leading tone by itself holds tension, and it wants to release back to the tonic, the 1. You know.
I'm gonna adjust the
1.
camera settings real quick.
Okay, what is it?
you're good, you're
Having problem focusing?
No, we're straight. I'm just gonna get...
I think I changed keys. We got to B flat minor.
There we go.
Let's make it all cute. Let's do goat, but make it all cute and like watered down.
Can you start here? You know how one of the biggest complaints that I've heard from like fellow musicians is that Colin said queued it up for him. One of the biggest complaints I heard from fellow musicians about specifically metal drums is triggers.
Oh yeah.
The sound of triggers, that clicky bass drum that's like it sounds like a sample that's
Are they
just
using
copy
them
and
in there?
paste. I get that vibe from this. I don't know if it's like the compression they use, the way the drums are mixed, or even the way the drums are recorded. I get that like that plasticky vibe from
Maybe.
them.
See, I hear real drums.
No, it's real, but I just
Yeah.
I get that feeling.
I see what you mean, though. They might have sampled that in.
I'm gonna quote Tommy Emmanuel, probably one of the greatest acoustic guitar players who ever lived, and the most entertaining to watch. He's so much fun to watch. He was asked, I can't remember who he was asked about, but he was one of those guys that like slaps the guitar, always a talented, but he says it sounds more like a science experiment than it sounds like music. And it's actually kind of interesting that you said that this got caught in your head, because I don't know, like it's very impressive. Not hating, these guys obviously rip dicks. This song has 35 million views, so who the fuck am I to say anything? But I kind of get science experiment kind of vibes from it. You know what I mean? I almost get like, look what we can do.
Well, it's they're pioneering a certain style because they're getting that shred element. They're accessible enough that it is catchy, and you could sing some of these.
It
hooks.
is catchy. It is catchy. Yes.
You could sing the hooks,
but
and they're putting that EDM element in there, like you noticed right out of the gate. Right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of they're doing their own thing, man. It's polyphia.
It's just for me. It's just kind of forgettable. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's a lot of guitar wanking. A lot of wanking. Sick video though. Insanely sick video. I could do this video for sure. That's the best shots, those transitions.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Nice little bass solo, man. You don't get those too often.
It is Astera tubes. Alright, that's enough. Oh yeah, sorry we couldn't see the video. We're watching the video you can't see. Thanks, John. See, John's our mod, dude.
What?
John, you're hired, bro. It was just a shot of you watching the video.
Oh, gotcha. You know what? I'm gonna pull up. I got a computer right here. I can pull this up and kind of check it too.
All right. What is the video of Polyphia with Nick Johnston playing?
Champagne.
Thank you. Let's take a peek at that because I want to show this because I think Nick Johnston, is it Johnston or Johnson?
Johnston.
Johnston.
Nick Johnston.
Nick Johnston is in that he's in that like guitar shredder category.
Yep.
But he's tasty, dude.
Super tasty.
He's so tasty.
100%.
And if anybody has watched our video on the Mateus Asato breakup song analysis, Brian talks about the Mordant that he uses all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Johnston is a freaking master of the Mordant. He brings almost this like Middle Eastern kind of semi-tonal vibe to his stuff, but it's so tasty and it's so awesome. So I'm gonna like just take a peek at this and not gonna listen to the whole thing, but I want you to hear the difference between the solos of the two main nerds and Nick Johnston. Okay, this one is catchy. It's crazy catchy. Much lamer video, by the way. Have you ever played one of those? I think that's a Petrucci.
I picked one up, but
Not bad.
it wasn't for me at the time.
I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
what's cool about the Petrucci's and all Music Man guitars is they like are Music Man. They feel like a unique neck. Like when you pick up a PRS, say what you will, it feels like a Gibson or it feels like a Fender. It doesn't really feel like a unique thing. Music Man have a very unique feel to it.
Right.
And dudes who have small hands, it's good for them because they're a little tighter. That's right, Colin. Eddie did play Music Man. At least one of the iterations.
Yes, he did.
It was was it PV, and then Music Man.
The
and
PV
then AVH?
Wolfgang. No, that. Yeah, what did he go to a music?
The first one was PV. It was a PV.
But then it was EVH guitars. So where did they come in?
Oh wait.
See, this is where I'm lost in the weeds. That's not my expertise at all. Is gear.
Yeah, that's more me.
Yeah, that's more you for sure.
John has a question though.
What's up, John?
My question about leading tone in a major key versus minor key was legit. I'm just not super school. Okay, so let's see what your question
what was. That question? We missed it. I got to get the chat up here.
He said, "What is a leading tone in a major scale?"
The leading tone in a major scale.
I mean, just explain what a leading tone has been. This period.
Yeah, so the leading tone is the seventh note of the scale, and it's a half step away from the one again. So that's the end of the scale if you're ascending. So it's a C major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So that's where the 7 gets back to the 1. It's that half step resolution back to the root, back to the tonic. So in what context was that question? Because we were in a whole different world.
I think he was. John, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think you're asking like, what is a leading tone? Period. Like, is that what you're asking, John? Like, what is a leading tone? Like, what is the definition of leading tone, or what was that specific one? I think he's more asking like what it is fundamentally.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a better answer than that, but that's the way I deeply understand the leading tone. It's the 7 back to the 1, even in the minor, not the harmonic minor scale.
You said you were talking about the leading tone in a minor key. Well, because the leading tone in that minor key was a harmonic minor.
Right, harmonic minor. So it had that. It sounds the same if you just isolated 7 to 1 in that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
I could do C minor and have that same leading tone resolution. That's when it becomes harmonic minor.
Yeah.
As opposed to natural minor, where it would be B flat to C instead of B to C. Leading tone, so it's a half step. And this is something I actually thought about recently. You have only 2 half steps in a scale. In the major scale, it's between 3 and 4. Yeah, and for some reason that just doesn't hold a lot of weight. Like that's where you get your suspensions, right? So you play a C major to a C sus4. It's like it's floaty, you know, but it's not tense necessarily.
Well, it's not far enough away from the tonic to make it tense enough.
Exactly. So you get in that more tension.
Yeah, it's funny how like you always react like.
Yeah, it's I'm waiting for it.
Yeah,
It's gotta,
absolutely.
You can't resolve it.
He says.
I mean, you kind of do though. You can resolve on a major 7.
John says harmonic minor equals raised, comma natural is what the 7th actually is, right? I don't know if I can understand this question. So, normal natural minor is just take your major scale, you flat 3, 6, and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 8, or 1. So we took the major scale and morphed it into the minor scale by flatting the 3rd, flatting the 6th, flat the 7, and then the 8, the 1. And then the harmonic minor. The reason why I always do that is because all of music, every single scale you think of, it could be some wacky, like some Lydian dominant scale. You can always reference it back to the major scale. Always, always, always. And that's what's so powerful with the major scale, because we all know solfege. We all know do, re, mi. Even music layman's can hear that. If I play anybody off the street a major scale and then do this, they're gonna hear those wrong notes. That's why the major scale is so powerful. So if you take the major scale, morph it into the minor scale, and then make one adjustment, which is instead of a minor 7, it's a major 7, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, major 7, and automatically your brain goes, ooh, what is that? So that's what it is. So you take the normal natural minor scale, and basically it's a minor major 7, and that's why it's so powerful.
Cool. Yeah. So
John's got it. Rock and roll. Yeah. The harmonic minor is magical scale. It sounds so cool. It sounds so cool. And they might as well tell them what the melodic minor is, because that one's funky too. Because
melodic minor is funky.
Because whether you're going up or down, ascending or descending, it actually changes.
It changes. Now, that's one I never grasped in context. I'm about to take the strap off here. Driving me a little crazy. I never understood it in context because you can hear it at certain times, but it doesn't really follow the rule of. Let's talk about what it is.
So this is the melodic minor scale. So wild.
It's basically a major scale, but with a flat 3. Or you could think of it as a natural minor. I'm not even going to say natural minor. It's a minor scale, flat 3, raised 7th, raised 6th.
John says cheers. Cheers to John. Brian needs whiskey to cheers.
I kind of do.
Brian, pour yourself some whiskey, bro. Here, hand me that bottle while you're talking about it. Hand me your bottle and your glass.
All right. Yeah, so
he's going to talk about it.
Melodic minor. It's raised 6, raised 7th on the way up, and it's just natural minor on the way down. I've heard it at times, and I heard it recently with the raised 6, raised 7th, flat 3. I wish I could pull it up what that was. But I've also heard a descending, like you hear a melody that uses melodic minor, and then they'll descend into the raised 7, raised 6. So I don't really know where that rule comes from, where you ascend, raised 6, raised 7th, and descend back into the natural minor. Yeah, it sounds great, though, when you play the scale that way. We need a classical theory expert to hop in and explain that, because I'm sure there's a pretty clear and concise explanation for why that is.
By the way
it is.
I would like everybody to notice the difference in glass size between Brian and I. We got the big boy glass.
That's water, man. It's the most delicious water on earth.
Cheers.
Cheers, John.
First live stream.
Cheers, Colin.
Thanks,
if you have a drink,
John.
brother.
Yeah. Colin for hanging out with us.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Maybe there's more. Maybe I think my wife might be watching upstairs.
That's a good question. So,
Colin asked if there is a famous song that uses harmonic minor.
A famous song that uses harmonic minor.
Doesn't Yngwie use it all the time? His songs aren't really famous.
That's all he uses. So yeah, any Yngwie Malmsteen song is harmonic minor. Any single one.
Let's watch Yngwie. I want to get back. I want to watch that Nick Johnson or whatever. Yngwie. Dude, okay. Every single time I just see, I'm going to show what we're watching here. Every single time I just see Yngwie Malmsteen, I think of Brian.
Really?
Yes, of course, dude.
You got to put him up on the
Why
screen.
would he's up? He's up. Why would I listen
The
to?
next thing is not appearing on a record.
Oh,
as
God,
of
this
yet.
guy.
Something actually composed for this particular.
Every single fret on his guitar is scalloped. Now, guitar nerd scallop frets is usually from 15 to 20 or 22, whatever you have, is scalloped. So it's actually like it's scooped. The wood is scooped out. So it's it's just fret to fret. There's no wood.
You have a half pipe in between each fret.
Exactly. So look, Google scalloped frets. And actually, I can do it right now. Let's go. Scalloped frets. And every single, there it is, perfect example. The scallop frets right there. So it's actually it's kind of cool to play,
Yeah, they're crazy to play.
but it's only like really for soloing and shredding really high up. But Yngwie Malmsteen, every single fret on his guitar is scalloped, and it's almost like
Well, you emphasize every single fret because normally when you get scalloped frets, you'll get from like 15 up or maybe even higher than that. Like the last 5 frets at the top of the neck will be scalloped.
Yeah.
He does the whole neck. You have to have such a light touch, and he plays half step down, and he probably plays 9s or something. So he's
or,
probably
like 8s or some
super
shit.
springy. He might play 8s.
John just asked, give me a new song or new artist in the last year that has really impressed you. I don't, but trying to answer Colin's question originally, I don't think I can name a harmonic minor song, honestly. Off the top
It's
of my
one of
head.
those things that's kind of ubiquitous. Let's see. This is where I fall back on popular songs, harmonic minor, and we're going to see a ton that we recognize.
Yeah, that's one thing too. Is like you won't really know it till you kind of dive into it. And here's the thing
Easy to
too:
identify when you hear it.
there might be an artist that writes a tune, that's pretty straightforward, and there's one accidental or one like interesting note, and they're playing harmonic minor without even really knowing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of times too with metal music and like really heavy stuff, analyzing it to any kind of theory is kind of pointless because it's so chromatic, it's so all over the place. That's not really useful to.
A lot
to
of
analyze
times
it.
too, if you hear it in pop, it's fleeting. It's a modified 3 chord. It's that secondary dominant 3 to a 6. So in context, it's like the whole song isn't necessarily harmonic minor because it's got that very Baroque kind of sound. When you stick with the entire song in harmonic minor, hence Yngwie, he loves Baroque music. That's why all of his music sounds like that. Even Polyphia, we were just listening to them. That was harmonic minor, and that kind of has. You said like an Eastern sound too, right?
Yeah, because it sounds like almost.
Yeah, like the most Eastern sounding Western scale is a Phrygian dominant scale. So you got the minor, you got a flat 2 in there, and actually that's where the leading tone is. So I'm playing in the key of A harmonic minor right there.
Leading tone is always going to be a half step, by the way, John. Leading tone is always going to be a half step. I hate to already do this. I got to pee. So you got to take over the stream for 2 minutes. You got it?
Yeah,
Brett?
let me see if I can remember that Phrygian dominant
I'm
scale.
going to pee.
So-
Brian's going to do this.
So you guys can watch me walk through my theory because every once in a while I get rusty. I got to remind myself. Let's go A minor. And then, or let's see, C, A minor. That's my. It's gonna be E Phrygian. We raise the 3rd tone of the Phrygian scale. Yeah, so that's like that really Eastern kind of sound. If Phrygian dominant. So it's a dominant. So I can't remember why they call it that anyway. But yeah, you guys are seeing some of my weak points here, and this is what I love about this. We get to kind of strengthen some of that stuff. Let's see what kind of comments we have here. Talk a little bit of the guitar that I'm playing. Oh yeah, so this is a Suhr. I don't know if you can see that on the headstock. John Suhr. So this is a custom build. It's called a Suhr Modern. And it's kind of funny. I was going to get one of these built because I was like, I want to really just beautiful playing guitar, which this is. And I kept seeing all these guitarists that I love, like Andy Wood, Mateus Sasato has these. And I was like, I'm going to try a Suhr. They have stainless steel frets, which are way harder than your typical nickel alloy frets. Like I had some nickel alloy frets that from bending and vibrato are starting to get flat on the top 3 strings. These will basically last forever because they're so hard, these frets. It had the compound radius that I was looking for. This is a 10 to 14 compound radius. And I was going to have that custom built. But I was looking on Craigslist, and there was a guy 20 minutes away from me selling this. And he was a bedroom guitarist. So it was
Are you talking about your steel frets?
yeah, so Colin asked about what kind of guitar this is.
Oh, it's a Suhr, dude.
I was going to have it custom built. It was going to cost me like $5,000, but I found it for half the build cost, and it was like 90% close to the specs I was going to get anyway, down to the color.
Nasty guitar.
And the whammy bar.
Those frets.
I love this guitar.
It feels like glass, dude. It's
Yeah.
so smooth.
Yeah.
Better than my fucking old ass frets.
So now I'm spoiled by stainless frets. I won't go back. I even had I had a Taylor acoustic refretted stainless. I had my Fender Tele radius to match this radius and put steel frets on that.
I want to get
So-
new frets on this, but I'm so afraid because I love this guitar so much. I'm afraid that if I get it refretted, I just won't like it. It just won't feel like itself anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I don't know. Surprisingly, when I had the Fender redone, it felt like the Fender, man.
That's good.
And the guy who did it warned me because he said, look, you got a really bad twist in your neck, dude. Like we got to
Which is like a death knell for
Yeah.
for guitars. Honestly.
I was like, so should I just get a new neck? And he was like, it's going to be a new guitar if you do that. I don't know if you want to do that. He had a Plek machine, so he re-radiused it for me. Got it perfect. Phil Jacoby in Baltimore. Thank you, Phil.
And speaking of fret jobs, Steve Blake, Baltimore Music Company, just got a Plek machine.
My man.
And my dude does good work. He did good work before he got a Plek machine, and now he's got a Plek machine. So I might just bite the bullet and get both my SGs refretted. Maybe just this one. All right, we got a couple questions from our 2 loyal viewers. I'm sure you've discussed this, but Brian, could you talk a little bit about the? Oh, you go that.
That's what we were just talking
about. John, can you pick a type of scale and explain what its use is over a chord progression? Example: why does C harmonic minor work over chord progression blank?
Cool. Should we do the harmonic minor one? Do you want me to take that question literally and do C harmonic minor?
Well, I mean, how? So, okay, I think the easier question is just just do a diatonic thing, and then maybe talk about borrowed chords, and then how to highlight borrowed chords. I think it's better to go the other way around. So why would a major 3 chord sound interesting?
Wait, you know what I just realized? This might be a little bit obscure, but to answer Colin's question, Plane by Jason Mraz is in a harmonic minor key.
Oh, yeah, what is it?
Because I was doing it in C
I
to
know
E
that's-
flat to A to G.
Yeah. So explain that. What's the chord progression? I've played this song 1,000 times. Why am I forgetting it?
All right, so if we're going to call it C minor, we'll say C is the 1 to the 3, E flat. And then we're going to go to the 6, which is A flat. And then we're going to go to the major 5, which is G.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's C harmonic minor. And he doesn't even use the leading tone in there like that.
I think
He has some modal interchange in that song because he goes to the flat 7. Let's see, where is it? When the plane goes down, down.
and right there.
there.
So
That's-
I think the better way to explain it to beginners or people who are not really familiar with kind of modal stuff and weird borrowed chords and chord substitutions is explain it if you can in a major key, and then kind of explain why those cool sounding chords sound cool. You see what I'm saying? So if you
Yeah, so let's talk about it in E flat major then.
yeah, that
Yeah.
is makes more, even though it's minor key, but you see what I'm saying. So okay, what we're gonna do is break down just as a real quick, not everybody knows this song. This is Plane by Jason Mraz.
Playing by Jason Mraz. Let's get it in the actual key too, the same key that he's doing it. I just picked C minor and I heard that song.
Yes, you guys.
So
are,
this was from
we're
Mr.
being-
A to Z back
Yeah,
in
we're being exposed by Jason as a Jason Mraz nerds.
Brick's pulling it up now.
Yeah. Good song, great song, good killer album.
No, it's actually E flat minor. I picked E flat major, E flat minor.
It's interesting how your brain works there. But that's the song if you want to listen to that song. So forget the song, take the chord progression, and let's play the chord progression real quick and kind of explain what it is.
I'm gonna shift it up to E just to make it more playable.
Just like throwing it out there, I've played this song on guitar hundreds of times, and I am spacing on it. I used to know the song front and back. I completely forgot all of it.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh my goodness gracious.
So let's call this G major. Okay, so it's E minor, G major. They're relative major and minor. So if you know a G major scale, that's basically what the song is going to revolve around with one modification, and we'll get to that. So
Yeah.
the chord progression is a 6, E minor, to a 1, G, to a 4, C, to a dom. So this is a secondary dominant. It's what would normally be the 3, would normally be a B minor, but it's actually a B7.
That's the important point right there. So everybody,
Yeah.
so forget the song. It's not really about the specific song. It could be any song because it is it's a very basic progression. So once again, if you were playing a normal song in G, play what it would be normally. You've heard this 1,000 times. So go ahead, play what it would be normally. The progression.
6, 1, 4. We'll call this a 5 of 6 because it resolves right back to the 6. 4, 5 of 6. Maybe think of it as major 3 if you want. That's not wrong to do, but
But that is why it's interesting. The fact that it's a major 3 chord or a dominant 3 chord is different. And that's where the harmonic minor comes in. So I think it makes more sense to think about the chord progression and how he made it interesting,
Yeah.
and then relate that to harmonic minor,
Right.
as opposed to saying, how does harmonic minor work over chord progression?
Yeah.
It's easier to look at the chord progression and then see how it's messed with,
true.
and then seeing why it's interesting.
This is why we put that video at major scale. Everything points back to the major scale because it really does. And even when Rick, when you're explaining natural minor, you're saying it's a major scale with a flat 3, flat 6, and flat 7. That's true. That's what it is.
I haven't played
know?
this song forever.
It's,
So normally it would be. It's funny how wrong it sounds, but that would be normally what it would be because in the key of G, the chords you're allowed to play, E minor,
yeah.
G major, C, and then B minor. And before we go further, that follows the rules of G major. That if you were to analyze all the notes that are in E major or E minor, G major, E minor, that follows that perfectly.
Yep.
The reason why this sounds more interesting, that you're hearing that harmonic minor flavor that makes that 3 chord so much more easy. So it's so much more useful to look at what it should be, like quote unquote should be, in the key of G, and then see why that B, so it's supposed to be B minor, but instead of B minor, it's B. It's that C. It's that C sharp. It's that C sharp that makes it really interesting.
Leading tone. That's the leading tone.
Yeah.
Because it's a D sharp. It's the
Sorry, D sharp. D sharp. Yeah, my bad.
D sharp leading back to the E because this song, it's pointing to that E minor tonal center, right? So we said it's in the key of G,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
But the
And
E
remember-
minor,
yeah,
the relative minor,
Yes,
that's the
yes.
tonal center. The
That's the-
leading tone leading you back to that E minor.
That's another thing too. It's really, really, really important to, I said earlier how everything can be related back to major scale. Songs that are in a minor key can be viewed in a major key. That doesn't necessarily mean this tonal center of that song is a major key, but it's called a parent key. You can look at it or you can analyze it as a major key, and that's something I always did, especially when I was starting out, trying to like learn theory, really wrap my head around everything. I used to always think of things in a major scale context because I could understand it better. And then once I got better at it, then I was looking at things in the key of in a minor key. So. Brian, his ear is so ridiculous that he never even like. He's just like, it comes to him immediately. I had to like really kind of like force myself to understand it. So, and that is one of the ways to do it. If your ear isn't ridiculous, it's always best to go back to the major scale, because major scale is the most simple thing we can always reference back to. It's it's like the legend on a map. You can always go back to the major scale, something you learned in first grade. Yeah, so that's what's so cool about it.
I agree with that. And I'm a big fan. I tell my students this. Think of it as many different ways as you can, and then pick the way that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you could think of it in G major. You could think of it in E minor. E harmonic minor makes the most sense.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Or
And
you
then-
can just think of it as in G with an interesting note. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And that's what a harmonic minor is. It's just a normal major scale or minor scale with an interesting note.
Let's find out what that interesting note is, because I was playing
Yeah.
with that while you were talking. I was going, so G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sharp 5.
And you always want it's always
It's like,
yeah.
it's a lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sharp 5, 6, 7, 1, you know?
And it gets highlighted so much when you put it into context of something simple. It's really, really cool. Yeah. That I've had a lot of students that had a really hard time wrapping their head around anything that's weird. I was okay, let's look at it in a way that's not weird and show you what it is specifically that makes it weird or interesting. And that's it. It's usually one note.
Yep.
And here's a really cool thing. Once you hear it and see that one note that's weird, you always spot it. You always notice it's the same spot. It's always used the same way. It's always the same thing, but it's not nothing new. It's really, really cool. Yeah.
It's a good memory device, too. Find the weird thing.
Find the weird note. What is that one note? That's why I always do the scare quotes when I say the correct thing or what you're allowed to do, because, there's no such thing as allowed, Yeah.
Man, so it sounds good. We should jam on that a little bit. I think we used to do that,
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah.
Brian, Rick, man, we used to get together and we did some serious jamming.
Dude,
right?
and I seriously have played that song so many times, and I'm like killing myself.
It's funny how you lose it when you don't. What
I'm
you
just
don't
gonna
use, you
cheat
lose.
and prove the chords.
We just talked about it, man.
No, because the chorus and everything.
Oh yeah.
It's such a shame. Because I go through so many phases. I have to memorize so many things. I just forget stuff.
I think it just hangs. I think it's a 4 to a 1 to a 5 of 6. That would be an easier way.
funny too how like the beat
That's fun,
takes
man.
over the song.
It does.
The beat that interesting chord,
Yep.
and it takes over the entire tune.
Yeah, and there's he goes between. So I'm playing what you're hearing in that leading tone. You hear the D sharp. It's like.
It's like when you see in movies where they'll make it black and white and then like the rose is red. It's like
Yeah.
that. It's like that. It's like the whole movie is black and white, the whole song is black and white, and that one chord is the only thing that's in
And
color.
that, but here's the funny thing about that is that D sharp only works over that B, that B chord. If I hit a D sharp anywhere else, it's like, no.
Let's show him. Show him too.
Not
Show
quite.
like,
Okay.
here, I'm gonna play the chord
Because I'm doing a lot of D naturals in there.
Oh yeah. Oh, gross. So gross.
I'm riding that D sharp.
And I'm so glad you said it too. That's a perfect example how like, and a lot of people asked, a lot of students asked, like following the changes. What does following the changes mean? What does that really actually equate to? So it's usually in jazz because jazz there's a lot of accidentals, a lot of extended chords, a lot of weird stuff going on. And the reason why it's so important to follow the changes in jazz because if you don't highlight the chord the band is playing, it could sound like complete garbage. So even though the song has that harmonic minor feel with it, and that B dominant 7 is in there, if you hit the note, that D sharp, anywhere in the chord progression, it's gonna sound like crap. That's why it's so important to know where the band is. So when you want to highlight that nice note, you got to do it in the right chord. Yeah, it's actually a really cool thing. So I got another question. John said, "Give me a favorite heavy riff." I mean, that's too easy, dude. There's a little band called Heavy Wire. It's got some heavy.
There you go. That's all you, man.
So favorite heavy riff? I don't know how heavy, like metal heavy or
That's challenging too because we're in standard tuning, man. What do you expect us to
dude.
do with that?
dude.
What are we gonna do with that?
There's so many heavy first standard tuning.
I do
riffs.
have my telly I can plug in and pretend to play heavy. I don't favorite heavy riff. I mean, I think of my sugar riffs, man, and I can't pick one because
There's so many. I mean, heavy.
yeah, heavy.
John,
Heavy wire.
you stumped us. See, you give me this the stumped emoji.
Yeah, it's funny because I like the metal guy.
It's funny.
Think of me back in high school. It's all
Brian
metal.
was the
all
metal
time.
guy, but you want to hear what Brian is into nowadays?
Oh yeah. Are you gonna pull up what we listened to yesterday?
No, I'm even better.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, do this even better. Well, this is my favorite guitar player.
What is it? It's all right, right?
Yeah, it's all right, dude. This is not even a joke.
Go ahead, play it, buddy.
Can I play it?
Fuck yeah, you good? Here he goes. I know. This is Bry's jam, dude. This vibe. It's like grocery store elevator music.
Oh, this is the best part.
Did you guys see the album cover too? The fucking flamingo.
Different time, man.
Woo!
Dude, so that's Steve Lukather. That's one of my
Oh, that's
favorite
Steve
bands.
Luk-
That's
Steve-
one of my
Steve
favorite
Lukather.
bands because that's Jeff Porcaro on drums. That's Mike Porcaro on bass.
That's the members of Toto
You got
and
it.
like Michael Jackson's band for a lot of like for Thriller and for a bunch of sick stuff.
Yep.
Steve Lukather, nasty.
Dude, you get to the guitar solo in this song. Dude, this guitar solo. So I was
Where
listening.
is it? Where is it?
After,
I know.
after this next chorus. Careful. And there's a bridge. It's after the bridge. Okay. Beautiful bridge, dude. Okay.
Here we go. Steve Lukather. Here we go, baby.
This part right here, man. It's so tasty.
He's very tasty. Yeah, and anybody that if you haven't gone down a Steve Lukather rabbit hole, guitar players must do. All right, okay, here we go. John said, "Lamest riff you actually like." Boom, I got one for you.
I mean, I kind of.
What is it? That's Always on the Run, Lenny Kravitz, dude.
Oh wow,
Yes, dude. That I played like
That's-
I played like shit. 'Cause I played it
that's
for
a pretty nasty riff.
I
Man.
haven't played it for a long time, but here you go.
I don't know if you'd classify this as lame, but
But before you go, before you do yours,
yeah. Oh yeah.
oh shit.
I'll tell you what makes that riff extra stanky.
It's Dorian.
Dorian, exactly.
It's Dorian.
Yep.
So Dorian is a minor scale with a sharp 6, so it's a natural 6 or whatever you want to, however you want to think about it. So
I don't have the groove right, but
because it's 16th that riff that makes it so good.
yeah.
I'm in the wrong setting. Here we go. What is it?
That's it.
That's it.
I was trying to double you the right spot.
Dude, that's one of those riffs that you like wish you wrote because it's so sexy.
Oh yeah, definitely. See, so the thing is, it's hard to call a riff lame when you like it. Like I always go back to.
That's a good point.
Tell me what riff this is.
Stranglehold, right? Yeah. Mr. Nugent.
Yeah,
Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent. I mean,
That's-
I love that riff, dude.
Derek St. Holmes, dude. Here, I'll do a little name drop for you. Little name drop for you. I used to
name
work at Guitar Center in Glen Burnie, Maryland, and Derek St. Holmes, the singer of Ted Nugent. By the way, Ted Nugent doesn't sing; he has people sing.
Yeah.
And the singer of Ted Nugent was Derek St. Holmes. He played guitar as well. And he used to come and do Guitar Stand Glen Burnie. And we'd always, I talk to him and stuff.
Dude, that's
I remember one of the coolest compliments. I was actually at Guitar Center on my day off. And I was there and I was super stoned. And I was playing a guitar and I was like, it's probably some John Mayer ripoff, honestly. And Derek came up. He's like, dude, I like that riff. I like the way that sounds. I was like, thanks, man. That sounds great. And then later on, a couple weeks later, he's like, hey, man, I was with Ted and I showed him that riff that you played. And he liked it. And I was like,
That's awesome, man.
fuck yeah, dude. The Nuge
high
like one of
compliment.
my riffs, dude.
That's a high compliment. Man. Do you remember the riff? You don't remember the riff?
It
Now I want to know the riff. you
It
know?
was. It honestly probably was a John Mayer ripoff riff, and I just didn't know. It was like,
like. I see.
something like that. Whatever it was, I was deep in a John Mayer phase back then.
What's that? Who did you think I was? That's John Mayer original, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the type of riff you wish you wrote.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where did he come up with
Something's Missing is one of the ones I wish I wrote.
I don't remember that one off the top of my head.
Oh, that's classic here.
I remember the chorus on that song.
Something's Missing, specifically from the Try record.
Now we're gonna be geeking out on some John Mayer. All right, John's gotta hop off. Good hanging, man. Thank
Yeah,
you for
John.
hopping in with us.
Dude, John coming by, making the first stream awesome, giving us some questions and stuff.
Appreciate it, John. That was
Very,
awesome,
very,
man.
very cool, man. Good stuff, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
We'll see you soon. Dude, Steve Jordan.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I always say, good drummers, I can listen to them play one groove all day.
It ain't your TV.
This is John Mayer Trio from like
It's fun to laugh
2007
at
or something
people
like that.
sometimes.
I got this album like I think the year I graduated high school, or maybe the year before or after.
Though it's nice to spend the whole night online.
That first chord, he's in a weird tuning.
It's not your movie.
Yeah, this is this Heavier Things?
This is from Heavier Things,
Okay.
yes. But this is Try, which was
Yeah,
that live
so
record from 2005. Yeah, so the
they
year before I
trio-fied
graduated
it.
high school.
It's only music.
It's weird. I remembered specifically where I got it. So in Baltimore, there is you know the Chinese food restaurant in Baltimore that's like a big gnarly building with like gargoyles in the front. I always drove by. Oh, they missed it.
Oh, this riff, dude, yeah.
Could you break this down to simple chord progression right here?
So he's got C sharp minor to an E to an A,
What's that there?
some kind of G sharp. I guess it's like a E inverted.
Okay.
E over G sharp.
So because I've been playing for 20 years. I've been playing forever, right? I still don't have that kind of intuitive ear where I feel like the way you hear music, Brian, is like the way I look at a stop sign and read stop. I can't tell myself not to read a word.
Yeah, in a
That
way.
is the way you analyze. But I can still kind of
Yeah.
like, I can hear the tones. I hear what's going on. I know I can play it, but there still is a bit of a mystery to the progression behind it.
Yeah.
I have to dig to discover what it is.
See,
So you just see it right away.
I had a compulsion to dig for so long that it became habitual, and it
It's freakish.
well, I tell people this. I'm identifying words in language that I understand. That's all it is. Like
Right.
you speak English to me, and I know the words you're saying, and I know how they piece together to form this meaning, and I understand what you're saying to me. Like everybody does who speaks any of their native language, right? So I'm like listening to music. Yep, that's a word I hear. Yep, that's a word that I hear and understand the meaning.
Right.
So it's just chord progressions. That's all it is. So I hear the 6.
But even at it, like, okay, so you hear the 6.
Yeah.
But before you hear the 6, you have to give yourself a 1 to hear the 6 from.
See,
Right?
I'm still messing with this. I don't think so. I think chords, you need some context, but chords are pretty immediate with what they are if you're listening hard enough.
Right.
Like, so when he hits that first, it's okay, it's ambiguous, because is that going to go to a B? Or is it going to go to an E? I mean, they're both part of that same parent key. That's the
Right.
thing. It's like it's a C sharp minor. It can only go so many ways,
Right.
you know. And it becomes pretty obvious where it's going by the time the second chord comes in.
Yeah. I don't know where, like, what my quote unquote like talent is with music, but the natural ear is not it. Is not it.
Yeah.
I can find it. You know, I can search and find it.
Well,
but-
this makes it easier too. If you want to think of vocabulary as an analogy for this, they're only using 4 words because they're using the 6, the 1, the 4, and usually the 5. But he's doing a 3 and back to the 6, which makes sense because the 3 is the 5 of the 6.
Yeah.
So 6.
I would say it is never. I've been working with you since high school. I graduated high school in 2006. Brian graduated in 2007. So Brian and I have been working together with music and guitar stuff for a long time. 15
Yeah.
years. We've been messing around with doing stuff together.
Yep.
And it never ceases to amaze me because a good ear it's almost unteachable. It really is.
In a way, it is, yeah. And I tell this story too. I had a student who, she's a brilliant woman. She knew multiple languages, and she knew the entire fretboard up and down better than I did. By the way, I could pick a random note. I could say play 6th fret E, and she would be like B flat.
Wow.
You know, like that. It's like, but she never had the ear to. Can you play this back to me? She would be.
She has to search.
She had to search and really couldn't find it and identify it. And it's really like you have to have that.
Yeah.
You truly have to have
like
that.
like
you know?
watching Rick Beato's son is disgusting.
Right.
Real quick, let's
You can't. You could
let's
not
watch.
teach me that. That's the thing. You can't teach me that level of ear. Like I have a decent ear, but you cannot teach me that level of ear. That is a God-given gift.
I mean, and when you guys are about to watch this, I don't even know if I'd want this. To be honest, I don't even know if I'd want to have this gift because it sounds like a curse. Watch this kid. This kid is a freak in the best way. Rick Beato.
Make
is
sure
a-
the video's on. Okay.
We're gonna do the hardest ear training test of all time. Are you ready?
Watch this kid. It's disgusting.
All right, turn around. Here we go. As fast as you can.
He's a little
So,
kid.
Single notes, and we're gonna do
He's
some
adorable, man.
Yeah, those little
intervals
buck
and
teeth.
chords.
Awesome.
Okay, here we go.
Hey.
Okay, good. 2 notes at once. Here we go. Great. How about
C
this?
flat. Duh, dad. Duh, dad.
Great. What about this?
Yeah, it sounds good. If
What about
Duh, he's gonna get
this?
that.
And then how about this?
E
What is it?
flat.
Correct.
He said it
He's
so.
like-
okay,
He said
like-
it so
He's
fast.
like, Dad. Duh.
E flat, Dad.
He's like,
Come on.
Dad. There's only 11 notes. Duh. Like, what am I doing? Can I go play? Like, this is.
Well, let me tell you how bad my ear is. I was like, is that some kind of major 7? No, that was an extended interval, so that was a minor second outside of the octave, and he's immediately E flat.
Yeah.
I couldn't even begin to tell you what notes they were, and I'm already wrong about the interval
Yeah.
that it was because it's a compound interval. That's where my ear
It's
kind of gets lost.
basically like his dad saying, "Is this blue?" He's like, yeah, blue. It's blue. That's blue, Dad. Duh, it's blue.
Yeah.
It's like he's looking at a crayon. He's like, blue, red, green. It's like that simple to him,
Yeah.
and it blows my mind. It gets
Really
worse.
gonna be hard. You ready? What's this?
Okay.
Let me say it gets worse.
Okay. Okay. Let me just hear that garbage. Like, what the?
What's this?
Si aumenta over D flat.
Okay, sing a B flat. Very good. What's this chord?
It's amazing.
A flat major over A major.
Great. Sing
A
F sharp.
flat major over A major. Okay, by the way, just throw that out there. A flat major over A major, garbage. Garbage.
Here,
Play
you,
it.
You play an A, and I'll play an A flat.
Yeah, here you go.
Let's
Here's
hear
an
it.
A for you guys. That sounds good.
But he knew exactly what it was.
He was like, oh, A flat major over A major.
You know what? I want to glimpse into his mind's eye because does he see every note separated like on a staff?
Dude.
How does that work visually in the mind's eye?
Unbelievable. It's almost like watching chess masters memorize games. Like I was watching recently. I am a chess nerd. I was watching Magnus Carlsen, the world champion chess player. He played 10. So he had blindfold on. There was 10 people behind him, 10 boards. He played all of them blindfolded. So he was like board 1 E4, and he would just go through and play, and he mated all of them. And then when he was done, instead of an autograph for each player, he annotated the game. So he'd write out all the moves for all the games that he just played. And it's the same level of like, you're not a human, you are a computer program. This little kid is a computer program. And what's wild is like, Rick Beato is a producer, right? He's a musician, he's a record producer, right?
Yeah,
Beato?
that's his background.
Like-
He was a producer for a while. He was definitely a teacher for a while, a music
And
teacher.
what are the chances that his son would be that? Because I don't care how good of a teacher you are, you cannot teach that. You just can't.
It's nature and nurture, I think. So he had a whole other video that came out after this went viral, showing all this footage of him putting Dylan next to computer speakers, putting up like Bach fugues. He exposed him to music, and he even said this, I did this from the womb. I wanted to immerse him in music and see if this could be ingrained. And sure enough, but again, if he didn't have that initial spark of an ear, like the genetic predisposition to have that kind of ear, I don't think he could have learned it like that. But this is the other thing I think about. How do you identify an A flat out of the ether? Because really it's arbitrary. Who named it A flat? Right? Why wasn't that A? And I've seen this happen before too, where there was a guy. This was a college professor who was brilliant, but had no music training. I was playing with a guitar around the guy, and he was like, G, C, D. He was calling out the note names I was playing. I was like, are you playing with me? He did that.
But did he have any?
That's what he said. I was like, do you have like you play guitar? Because I was playing a guitar and I was playing those some kind of 3 simple notes. He named them, but he wasn't even looking at my hands. He was like kind of just listening like this.
Right.
G, C, D. It's like, how do you know what those are? Like I barely even knew what notes I was playing. I was just kind of wanking, like,
Right.
you know, messing around.
Whew.
So there's something to that. Like it's not completely arbitrary, you know. Maybe the fact that we named it shaped the ether, you know.
That's crazy. It's
Yeah.
absolutely nuts.
It is nuts. So I have what you would call a good sense of relative pitch. You know, Dylan Beato has an immaculate perfect pitch.
Yes.
So does what's his name?
Eric Johnson,
No, I'm thinking of it. It's a younger guy, brilliant
Collier,
brilliant musician.
Brandon Collier?
Jacob Collier.
Jacob Collier, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Because he can hear a note and he can tell you by how many cents. And just to give you what a cent is, 100 cents is a half step on the guitar.
which is absurd.
That's the smallest movement on the guitar is 100 cents. That's 100 cents.
Yeah.
100, 100. He can tell you how flat a note is by at least maybe by a single cent. But
Disgusting.
He's demonstrated that he can hear a 12-cent difference in pitch. Because our Western tuning system is out of tune. The major third is out of tune by about 12 cents.
Right.
And he demonstrates that by playing a perfectly programmed keyboard. He plays the major third, and he sings a properly in tune major third over the out of tune, computerized keyboard tuned major third.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is really
It's an
amazing.
amazing thing.
And I impress myself when I hear a key change. I'm like, hey, there's a key change.
Sometimes it's hard to tell. They're done so well, it's hard to tell.
So yeah, the perfect example is my parents were watching the Andy Griffith Show. You know the song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they watched 2 episodes back to back, and the outro they sing the song. The outro they sang the theme, they whistled the theme rather, and then the next episode came on, and the intro was a whole step higher.
Oh.
So it's a weird. The outro is a whole step. Yeah, and I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a different key change, and I was like, oh, how about that? You know, and I thought that was good, but like freaking play your A flat over A. You go play your A flat, and yeah, he
Yeah,
heard
man.
both of those.
A flat over A, man.
Absurd, absolutely absurd.
Obviously.
Speaking of absurd, you guys want to watch? Should we watch some guitar fails?
Good, man.
Was there anything you want to watch, Brian?
Anything I wanted to watch? There was something. I'm worried about the copyright flagging because,
I think we've been good so far. I mean,
yeah, I mean, 'cause I don't want to get shut down midstream, but guitar fails. I was having fun talking theory. I mean, we have 3 people watching. Is there anybody who wants to give us
yeah,
a suggestion what you'd like to see?
It's 2 now.
Oh, it's 2 now. So whoever popped in just left again. I lost our stream. Let's watch some Sean Lane.
Sean Lane.
Yeah,
Is
you heard of Sean Lane?
Is that ASH or ASE?
ASHAW. Sean Lane. I don't know why I'm doing this to us because I can't even begin to play anything that this guy does.
What's a good song? The Greatest Clips, maybe?
Do Gray Piano's Flying. That one right there.
Playing a Jackson?
Yep. So, this is an example of a shredder who can make the guitar sing.
Oh, the Charvel? It's Charvel.
Yep.
This is some Bry shit right here.
Yeah. Talk about key change.
Yeah, right?
Guy's an immaculate player. What is he doing? Whatever that is. Tapped harmonics.
Yeah, there. Come on, I see it.
Now you're talking about my ear with progressions? I have no idea what that is. I can tell you what that is, progression-wise.
Well, as far as the shred,
He's doing a 6-5-1 finally. Not as far as the shred. There's a, and for some reason they're in G flat. Is he 2.5 step down?
see, the best I could do is I could tell what kind of guitar he's playing. Hey, he's playing Charvel.
That's why we're a good team, because I'm clueless with gear. You know. I love the way he uses the whammy. It's so tasteful.
He's like holding on to it. He's riding it.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, we got a traditional grip drummer. It's always a good sign.
See, his melodies just sing.
Yeah, he really has touch. I never heard of this guy. I actually never heard of you mentioning him either.
He's one of the greats, man.
Speaking of Sean's and one of the greats,
There he goes.
Is he dead?
Let him go. He is, unfortunately.
Wow, that run.
No. Keep it going.
I backed it up.
It's the grand finale. Oh, he still makes it sing at the top, you know? He doesn't lose control, ever. Right back to the hook.
What the fuck?
Exactly. Oh.
Yeah, speaking of dead guitar players that are amazing that are named Sean.
Sean.
This guy named Sean Costello. And I never really
You'll have to show. I'm
heard
not
anybody
familiar with
talk about this guy. And I remember one day I found him and it blew me away. There's two. He did Hucklebuck and I'm a Ram. This guy has so much fun on guitar, and it's so sad that he died.
that. What? This was 15 years ago. Look at that groove, man. He is feeling. He is living that groove.
Until I get there, I think I drive on. Until I get there, 'cause I'm a real, yes I am, and I know just what to do. I think I drive on, try to get next to you, hey, hey, 'cause I'm a ram girl.
2 chords, man. That's all you need.
I'm a ram girl. I wanna get next to you.
Playing that old,
Nice
like,
riff, man.
legit 50s gold top P90s,
What is that guitar worth? The 50s.
like $20,000
It's so crazy.
easily.
Oh,
His is all fucked up, so to me it's worth more, but
Yeah.
to the collector, it's worth it. A gold top.
Yes, I am. I'm just stubborn as I can be.
I remember I found this guy, this video on YouTube, just like, I was like, why don't I know this guy? This is when I was deep in my mayor
yeah.
phase.
I can hear the similarity, man. The video popped off the screen.
I did on purpose.
Okay.
Oh, this is it. This is the video right here. This is the one I wanted. This is one I wanted to before. Yeah, this dude. Rest in peace, Sean Costello. And I think
Wow, man.
what I liked is just the dude had so much fun playing guitar.
Yeah.
Same guitar, that gold top.
Beautiful.
Dynamics, man.
Big time. Nice. Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at that. Oh, look at that.
What's he doing there? Back it up a little bit.
Yes.
Is he like raking the
So what shape is he doing?
his ninth fret little? Dominant 7 on the B dominant 7.
Yeah, so that's an E minor triad kind of
Okay.
over a G. So that's like a G6.
That sounds like it.
I guess they would call it a G13, right? But then what is that? So that's a diminished now triad. So this is how I'm looking at it because I'm seeing the triad minor, then diminished, and I hear they're generally playing around a G bass.
There you go.
Something like that. So he's like sweeping that.
Yeah.
And he's pulling
It's
up.
clean too. It's super clean.
It's super clean. He's kind of palm muting it just the right way.
Yeah, he's got a
like,
good guitar face going on. Look at that guitar face right there. You got
solid. He's a solid player, man.
the- yeah, he really is.
And I love. You're right. What he said. He's just loving it. He loves every second of this. He's not in his head at all.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace, Sean Costello, man.
Wow.
For sure.
The Hucklebuck. Is that his nickname?
No, that's just the song. That's the name of the song.
Oh, the Hucklebuck, okay.
Yeah.
Sean
yeah.
Costello. Okay. My man.
Ooh. You want to play that circle progression again? Ready?
The circle progression of
Ready?
walking through the strings.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Which one?
The strings, dude.
All right. Yeah. You let me find one. Okay, so because we have two people, I don't know if it's the same two people who were here earlier. We were talking about how you could take the strings in order. And turn that into a chord progression that actually sounds great. So we're about to do that.
Ready?
Rick's gonna play the bass,
I'm gonna play the hard part. Ready?
and I'm gonna jam over.
Yeah,
this.
ready? 1,
Start with the chords.
2, 3, and.
There's our E minor, A minor, D major, G, B.
Was it, do you play both E's?
No.
Okay,
Just-
gotcha.
yeah,
All right.
let's just
We
make
got
it seamless.
Yeah, 2, 3, and. I like how I had one job and I messed it up.
Did you? I
Yeah.
felt fine, man. We're just
I
jamming.
gotta pee again, so I'm all like,
Oh
messed
man,
up.
look at that! How the tables have turned. Normally, I'm the one leaving every 5 minutes. But yeah, there you go. So that's how you turn the guitar into a musical sounding instrument without ever touching it with the left hand. Just, or if you're a left-handed guitar player, without using the right hand.
Can you handle it for a second when I pee?
Yeah, man, no problem.
Should I pee my pants?
Just take a break. Take as much time as you want. I'm hanging out with 2 people. I don't know who you are, but if you,
Yeah, whoever the two are,
whoever you are in the chat, just say hi and
yeah, comment.
comment something that you might maybe test me. See if there's anything I can do that involves a guitar. Because in the meantime, I might just play something I want to play. Tell me what song this is. Whoop. Whoa, I lost it. Sorry. It's probably as far as I can go right now. So that's Kiss from a Rose. That's Seal. And what I love about that song, it's got the modal interchange, which we kind of were talking. Did we talk about modal interchange earlier? Maybe a little bit. So we're talking about borrowed chords, right? So this song has an E major tonal center, but then it departs from that because you go to a C, which is not part of an E. It's not part of the key of E. Does not pair with E typically. Normally it's a C sharp minor. But instead, what Seal does in that song is he goes to a C natural and major. So that's what we call a borrowed flat 6 major chord to another borrowed flat 7 major. I was going to see if somebody would comment what song that is. Tell me if you know it.
I know what that is. It's my man Seal.
So we were talking about the modal interchange in there because it's basically like the key of E minor, right? It should be E minor because he's doing a C natural and a D natural, but it's E major. So he's got the flat 6 major borrowed from the parallel
Yeah, it's
E minor, and then the flat 6,
from
flat 7 major.
back here forever,
Dude,
bro.
oh yeah, I forgot. So this is the promo song for that.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dude, Seal said he wrote this in an afternoon.
I believe it, dude. The best songs are written instantly. I feel like they're just divine intervention was given to him.
Oh, and by the way, the original key is like G.
Val Kilmer. Nicole Kidman looks so good. Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Little tuning discrepancy between.
Yeah,
the-
might as well. There's a teaching opportunity. A lot of times, it's a really weird thing. Brian was mentioning earlier how the rules of music theory are kind of arbitrary. So the fact that like we as Western society chose A to be 440 hertz
Yeah.
is just an arbitrary thing we all agreed upon. And sometimes artists will tune their guitars or their instruments, whatever, to like 432 hertz. So their A is a little bit flat by 8 cents.
Yeah.
Perfect example. So a really common one was like Highway to Hell. Highway to Hell is a little bit flat. than normal A.
Yep.
The Beatles would do it a lot when they would change the speed and stuff.
Yeah, so that's the question I had. I don't know, and maybe it's multiple reasons. Is it the, is it when they converted the analog to digital from tape to digital?
It's that and it's the speed too. So like, let's say the Beatles recorded a song at whatever BPM. Maybe they went a little bit faster. They would speed the tape up and they would adjust the pitch a little bit.
Right.
This is before they could do that naturally. So that's what it is.
Now, why would they speed the tape up?
Because they wanted a different BPM.
I see.
They wanted a faster song. And they would sacrifice for the pitch increase. So one of the most famous stories is Strawberry Fields Forever. How if you listen to Strawberry Fields Forever in the middle of the song, I can't remember if it's the bridge or whatever, but you can hear when there's a splice, there's like a change. And what happened was, so John Lennon recorded that song over like many weeks of a session. And the first half of the song is like the first week. It's like take 2 or 3 or whatever it may be. And he really liked that take. And then he kept on developing this tune and everything. And it got darker and slower, and it changed. It changed key and it changed tempo. And he ended up liking the first half of one of the first takes and the second half of one of the later takes. Different speeds, different keys. And he was like, I'm sorry, George Martin, I like this one and this one. You got to make it work. So it's 2 different keys,
nice accent.
2 different speeds. So George Martin, the producer, who's commonly referred to as the 5th Beatle because he made the Beatles really sound good, he had to match the 2 songs. So you can hear in the middle of Strawberry Fields Forever where it kind of like flips over. I can't remember where it is, but that's what they had. He had to try to match the pitch there, which is wild. Which
That's
is really
that's
wild.
brilliant. I haven't heard it put that way, but that
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. That made me think of Derek and the Dominoes' "Layla." I love that song. You should pull that up because
Yeah.
I'm my tendency is to think they sped it up.
I have a really good story about
I think it's a
Seal, by
little
the
bit
way.
sharp, just based on the vibe of the song. Let's see, because it's
Should I do just the main track?
yeah. Just do the studio recording of it. Yeah, it's a little sharp. Exactly.
There you go. You
Little
can
sped up.
immediately hear it. Great riff. One of the best riffs of all time.
It is. It's almost a half step raise.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. You can definitely hear it there.
Yeah, it's right in between D and D sharp.
Yeah. But by the way, going back to Seal, I got a great Seal story.
seriously.
So, me and a friend, Josh Dickerson, shout out Josh, guitar player as well. We were playing poker at this bar, and we were playing with the people we've played for a long time. It was like one of those like free poker nights, and there's these 2 dudes that were like arguing about music, and they were like getting into it, and then the cover band that was playing Kiss by a Rose from Seal, and I was like, Josh, he's playing Seal, and as I said he was playing Seal, the dudes that were arguing, one of them was like, hey man, you don't know shit about Seal. I was like,
What?
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 was
Why would
like-
you say that?
I was like, sorry, bro.
you don't know?
I'll never forget it though. You don't know shit about Seal.
Who
dude.
says that, man?
I was like, you're right. I only know that one song, and the dude's
Yeah.
got scars on his face. That's all I know.
Well,
That's all I know.
you know, because I was thinking about "Kiss from a Rose" and I was driving. I was like, he had another hit.
I don't think. Did he have another?
I know
hit?
he had another hit. Yeah, it was. It's Crazy. It's called Crazy.
Oh, he dated that supermodel, super hot.
Heidi Klum.
Oh,
They were married for a long time. Well, I found out he's
his-
Australian.
his
I didn't.
face is blasted.
I didn't know
bro.
he was Australian. Well, some of that doesn't he have the like the tribal?
Oh,
It's like tattooing, right? What I don't know what that,
interesting.
but what that's called.
Crazy. It's 22 for a master. Dude,
That's our 6th chord right there.
Kiss from a Rose has 343 million views. Dude, he's got Santa Claus Coming to Town. I bet
Does
that
he?
rips.
I hear Dorian in there already.
don't know shit about Seal, bro.
That's it. It's a 6-1-2, but the 2 is major, so it's Dorian.
That's what he goes there for, is to unlock the door. For those around him criticize and sleep. Through a fractal on a breaking wall, I see you, my friend, and touch your face again. Miracles will happen as we
All right, that's enough. That's the same thing the whole time.
It's not as good as Kiss from a Rose.
It's not as memorable for sure.
Not at all.
But you could hear that being in like a lot of movie cutscenes and things like that.
Let's
you
keep
know?
rolling. I'm gonna do a little Instagram post here, a little
Yeah.
story because we're cruising here.
Well, we got one watching now.
Yeah, I mean it's we kind of
Yeah.
figured it would go. You know, we're still a
Yeah.
new channel, everybody.
We went
and,
from 5 to 1. It's pretty
but
solid.
you know,
I mean,
the feedback I've gotten from some friends, I got some texts. I think we got something here. This is really awesome.
cool. Yeah, man, it's a good hang. This is me and Rick, man. This is what we do. We hang out. We do things we like.
Yeah.
And we have wives and children, and we're hoping that doing the things we like will eventually, you know, get back and help our wives and our children.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll tell you what. I heard Crazy Seal was in E. Dorian, and I'll tell you why. Because at first listen, I'm like, okay, I hear E minor, and it just feels like the 6. I don't know why, it just does. And then it goes up to the G. Okay, there's my 1, right? But then it goes to the 2. Uh-oh. The 2 is supposed to be minor. It's not supposed to be major. It's supposed to be that. Because that would fit the key of G or E minor, right? So then I'm like, okay, so I have a major 2. I hear the raised 6 in there. And it's that note right there. That's the raised 6. So that must mean that this is not E minor or G major. It's some form of Dorian. It's E Dorian. And Dorian is mode 2, which means D must be the parent key. As weird as that sounds now, that's the key we're in. Because it's a 2, 4, 5. It's a 2, 4, 5 progression in the key of D. But the tonal center is E minor. We're going to do a video on this explaining the difference between key and tonal center, because key and tonal center are not exactly the same thing.
Honestly, no, I kind of like to hear that too because I'm not 100% clear on the difference.
Yeah. So the tonal center is what the song emphasizes as the 1. It's like what it keeps resolving back to. But the key,
Hand me your glass, bud.
the key has to do with what notes are being used. So if you look at the scale that's being used for this song, E Dorian, excuse me, those notes come from the key of D major. So that's why we would call that the key of D major, because it has an F sharp and a C sharp. Those are the 2 sharps that we see in that key of E Dorian. And the reason we're calling it now E Dorian is because E minor is the key, or the chord rather, that it keeps resolving back to. So it resolves back to an E minor chord, makes that feel like the 1, right? But the key is D major because you're using
Interesting.
the D major scale, F sharp and C sharp.
I always kind of taught the two. I always taught them as synonyms, almost. Would you say that usually they are, like the tonal center and the key are synonyms?
Usually, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you had to place bets, you would say, yeah, tonal center and key, they're going to be the same. But then it happens pretty frequently. You have Mixolydian, like Boston, More Than a Feeling, right? What key is that in?
D, G, D or G. I was just playing.
Okay, so you said D. D is a good guess because it starts on D, goes around, and it comes right back to D. It resolves to D, right? But if you look at the key of D, you're supposed to have a C sharp in there
Right.
because that would be your leading tone back to D, right? But you don't. You have C natural,
What's the big Lydian, right?
Mixolydian.
Yeah.
So the key is G. But
The parent key
the
is
parent key is G.
G.
The tonal center is D.
So really, you could almost say that the key is D and the parent key is G.
Yeah. Well,
that-
maybe. I
does
don't
that-
know. I
does that
don't know
work?
if that's right or not. That seems confusing to me because then you have to say parent key or key, and you have to know
Well,
what you're saying.
I think that
Tonal center I like because tonal
It's
center
true.
is like D. It's like D is the tonal center.
Yes.
The center is D. The epicenter D.
but still the
That's where we come
key
back.
the key is still is D Mixolydian.
Yeah, but D Mixolydian isn't a key; it's a scale.
That's true.
You
That's
know?
very interesting. Yeah.
Because if you have to write it in a key signature, you're going to have to write the notes from G.
in G, yeah.
Right.
there
So
will
the
be
key
one sharp.
signature is going to show G. So the key is still G.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It
That's-
only has F sharp in it.
that is an incredibly salient point too,
Yeah.
because remember, theory is all about understanding. It's not really about getting better. It's not really about anything besides understanding what someone else is doing or understanding what you've done. I always tell students, like, you don't want to like learn theory and then go write music using theory. You want to learn theory, don't worry about that theory, write something and then analyze
Yeah.
what you wrote with theory. It's
My man,
understanding.
perfect example. You wrote a riff that I loved, and it was going like this.
Oh, classic. Gulf Coast.
Oh, yeah.
I played it differently, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm pulling it from. This is
Oh man, it's been
years
so
and
long.
years ago. You might have it in your hands,
I
man.
think I do. I think I did it with my capo trick. So as a quick tangent, one time I was laying on my bed and I put my capo on 4, and I put it on wrong, and I didn't put it on the E string, and I ended up going capo 4, and I left the E string open. I think it was one of those. Oh man.
Yeah. So it's been a long time since we've played this.
That's it. That's the main thing there. I think it's there, something like that.
And it's you're kind of dancing around it. It's close. It was in G. It had some kind of G center.
Remember you saying it was Lydian.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to get to, because it's like, okay, it feels like G. G is home base, even though we haven't moved anywhere else.
Yeah.
G's home base. But the reason G isn't really home base is because C sharp doesn't fit that.
Right.
It should be right 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But we have 5 raised 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is what's cool about modes too. You have two ways of thinking about them: by number. So Lydian is the 4th mode, and that means if you were to play any major scale, pick the 4th note and run the scale from the 4th up to the 4th again and back down. That's the 4th mode, which is Lydian, right?
So as an example, instead of you just play G major, but you start here, you go,
Yep, there we go. So you play what? C Lydian?
yeah.
C Lydian, because C is the 4th of G, and Lydian is the 4th mode. So
And there's two ways to think about it. The way Brian is describing it is it makes more it's more musical. The way I think about it is more compartmentalized, because you're able to always reference back and make adjustments. So what I mean by that is, like, I just memorized that that Lydian was major scale sharp 4, and that allowed me to always play any scale shape that I knew.
yeah,
But it makes more sense thinking about it in reference to G, because normally G would have a C, but this has a C sharp. Yeah.
Well, that's what gives you the idea of how to navigate it, I think.
Yeah.
But identifying the way it sounds.
Would you memorize like specific modal shapes? Like would you memorize it like let's say you wanted to learn Lydian, like really want to get in touch with Lydian vibe. Would you learn G shapes and then sharp your 4? Would you learn specific Lydian shapes?
I wouldn't even do that. Again, because we talk about how everything goes back to the major scale. When you're playing over the 4 chord, you're playing in Lydian.
Right.
You might not even realize it.
Right.
But when you're playing over the 4, you're playing in Lydian. So, and that's what you're doing. You're riding the 4 chord of this song. So G is the 4 of what?
G is the 4 of D.
There you go. This is how so Rick and I wrote this song together. Rick had that initial riff. He was playing that. And you're like, I don't know where to take it. So I was like, okay, I'm hearing it. It's G something.
What did I play?
It's G Lydian. But then I remember what we did. We did this. So this is the verse. So riding the 4. And then we went here to the 3. To the 6. To the 5. To the 1. Back to the 4. Right? So we found out what mode you were using, which is Lydian. So that means you're using the 4 chord. What chord progression works around that? Like, where can we expand this? So we did 3, 6, 1. What did we do? Did we do 3, 6, 1? 4, 3, 6, 3, 6, 5, 1. That's what we did. Yep. So
My original way of playing that, it's gonna drive me crazy.
were you doing Dadgad maybe?
No, but that
'Cause
might have
was
been
in a Dadgad phase we had.
that might have been the time when I had my Taylor in a whole step down.
Okay. And then was I playing in standard?
You know what,
with
dude?
you or something?
Because that's it, dude. Because I was a whole step down, capo 4 with with the top opened. So let's transpose. The song's now in A, not G.
Okay.
This was the main idea. This was the main thing. It was this add 9 or sus 2, whatever it is. And the reason why I loved it is because it had that normal sus 2 shape.
Wow, beautiful.
And then that open E.
Yeah, what do you call that chord, man? So you have an A, an E, a B, a D sharp, and an E. So a B and a D sharp are added into an A chord. It's basically a B over A, man.
That was the base of the whole riff.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. I've always loved your writing. You know, it's just so intuitive. It always sounds great.
Yeah, because I never knew what I'm doing.
And
I kind of know what I'm doing. 'Cause I said before, I always know what I'm doing after the fact. I always would write it and then analyze
you'd have to
it.
go and figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's almost a preferable way to do it. You know,
So same before, I tell kids, yes, let's practice. Let's learn theory. But when it comes down to writing music and jamming, don't think about that stuff.
yeah,
You know, I always tell kids, you got to know what hat you're wearing. Are you wearing the study hat, the practice hat, the performance hat, the rehearsal hat? What are you doing?
yeah.
When it comes down to writing, forget it. All that stuff, just jam, just be free flowing. And then once you got an idea, record yourself doing it, and then analyze it.
And what you did was brilliant because what I think is the best way to do that is to thrust yourself into an alternate tuning you don't understand.
Right.
Right.
Like
and that's
like Dadgad.
like Dadgad, and that's what you did when you did a partial capo.
Yes.
Because you had some notes like what is that note?
Yeah.
And then you're just in the dark and like you're kind of following your ear and just doing what sounds good.
Yeah.
That's one of the best ways to write.
And for any teachers out there that may see this one day, that is alternate tunings are a great way to kind of take your teacher hat off because, I don't teach professionally anymore, but I taught full time for 7-8 years, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. There was nothing better than teaching people music, but you get stuck in teacher mode. So when it comes time to to write music, you're stuck in analyzing your own stuff. You're always thinking in very specific, theoretical frameworks. So a alternate tuning is a great way to take yourself out of it and almost kind of changing your medium a little bit. And when I would learn DADGAD tunes, I just refused to look deeper. I would just learn the tune and just feel it. That way I could kind of like be like a kid again, kind of discovering stuff.
Man, it's funny you say that because when I started teaching, I was 17 and I had been playing barely 5 years. So I was thrust into teaching.
But your 5 years was equivalent of like 10.
It was hours and hours and hours. And really, this is what I tell people. It's not even about hours. It's about reps. I was obsessed with getting good at guitar.
Yes.
So I did thousands upon thousands of reps at the things I wanted to get better at. But that's all besides the point. I got obsessed with analyzing music, and I did not know how to turn it off. And I got to the point where I was listening to professionals. I'm a kid. I'm like, oh, they're doing this wrong. That's wrong. Because I'm thinking about what's theoretically correct based on what I've learned and analyzed. And it made listening to music unenjoyable. For a while, I had to unlearn the analysis hat that Rick was just talking about. Turn it off. Didn't lose it. It's still there with me because it's a skill that I've, honed and developed. And I just had to learn how to take that off. And eventually you do. It's like, okay, I'm just going to throw that away. Just listen to this, enjoy it, kind of not know it. But if I really listen in and get the guitar out and break it down, I can find out what's going on in this song. So I think everybody should go through an analysis phase and get that skill because you can learn how to turn it off. And then, like if you have writer's block, you're writing something, you don't fully understand what it is or where to take it, use your theory, and you navigate your way out of that.
Yeah, and the cool little hack too, like if you Brian was saying, if you have writer's block, analyze a song, and then change the key, change the tempo, maybe change the signature. You got a new song.
There you go.
Like it's really as simple as that.
Yeah, you can do that.
I've heard people like comment on like genre specific preferences, like they don't like X genre, when really they don't understand that genre is irrelevant. It really is relevant. Whether you're writing, creating, listening to classical or jazz or pop, country or bluegrass, it's all the same stuff. So one of the cool things I used to tell to students to do is a really cool, which would actually be a good video, Bri. A great way to steal music is to look up a chord progression of a artist that you don't know the song, but you know the artist. Like let's say like Bob Dylan a lot.
You're saying steal music.
It's how to steal music. It really is. So you look up a Bob Dylan song that you don't know. So like I say, it's called fucking Apples and Peanut Butter. You look up the song, you never heard it before. You take the chord progression of that song and the lyrics. You have no idea what the rhythm or the melody is.
Yep.
You take the chords, take the lyrics, write a song out of it.
I've heard that same trick. I've heard that be proposed before.
That'd be a good video. That'd be a really good video.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me of a saying I once heard that a great composer, well, let me back this up. A good composer will borrow ideas, right? So he'll hear something he likes, he'll kind of write something similar, but a great composer will steal ideas.
Straight up.
So, and what that means, it doesn't mean that you get caught in a copyright infringement case. You take something that you love and you're like, I love this idea and I'm going to make it mine.
Yeah.
I'm going to rework this idea that I love into something that is mine and that is unique. You know? And because when I heard that, I was like, I instantly knew what that meant. I've done that before. I love this song and I want it to be mine, but it can't be. What can I make that's so similar to this, but it actually is mine? It's my voice.
It's actually the biggest compliment you could pay to any artist too, is when you really just like, I love your stuff so much that I cannot help but just rip it off.
And that's what John Mayer does inadvertently, right? One of his major quotes is like, I fail to sound like my idols, and that's why I sound like myself. Something like that, right?
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, because he wants to sound like somebody else.
Like Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray.
Stevie
is
Ray's his
dude.
idol, right?
Yes.
And he kind of does. He has like a similar timbre, even
Yeah.
the way
yeah.
he sings.
Yeah. Stevie Ray and
Similar
Jimmy.
playing
You
style.
really hear it.
But he can't help but be John Mayer. He's just John Mayer.
Yeah.
It's like he can't get away from his own voice, and it's brilliant. It's like we love him for that, you know?
Yeah, it's funny too how because of that, like there's a lot of people that if you ever listen to your idols, sometimes you won't like them,
That's true. Oh yeah, no,
which is wild.
I'll be transparent right now. I talked about earlier how I love Steve Lukather. He's my favorite guitar player, right? He is obsessed with the Beatles, and he even plays in the Ringo Starr All-Star Band. That's his main gig now. And
Really?
and he tells that story time and time again, how he always knew he was going to be a guitar player, and when he saw the Beatles for the first time, that's when the switch.
Which is
turned on.
funny because like Lukather blows all that stuff out of the way, all the guitar work out of the way. George Harrison's great. I think
Yeah.
Beatles get a bad rap sometimes because they like write pop songs, but musically
But see,
the depth is there.
Lukather doesn't think that way, man. He never comes close to touching the Beatles. He loves
In
the
his
Beatles.
mind.
In his mind,
But I think he
but
does.
in my mind, he is the ultimate, right? But
Yeah.
and then when I listen to the Beatles, I guess I'm too far removed from it. I'm 2 generations behind it, and I'm like, I understand it and I respect it, but it doesn't speak to me like
Right.
that. You know, it doesn't inspire me like that.
But
you know?
Lukather does.
yes,
And yeah, like it's almost like the Beatles are speaking to you by proxy.
by proxy,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's an amazing thing. Our idols aren't necessarily our idols, right?
Yeah.
It's not the what's the transitive property doesn't apply in that, case, right?
That's really cool because there's
Yeah.
been a lot of times where bands I would be freaking obsessed with, I would look up who they liked and it's
Yep.
garbage. I'm like, the fuck?
Well,
How did you get
another
it from here?
case, I love Jack White's music. Everything Jack White does, I think, is awesome, and he's just roots blues. He
Yeah.
loves roots blues.
Yeah, like
you know,
I don't want to hate on the old school blues guys, but I would look up like one of Jack White's favorite because I think
Yep.
the White Stripes, like the White Stripes, Icky Thump is
Icky
a
Thump is sick.
freaking
Yeah.
guitar masterpiece, beyond masterpiece. And then I look up like who some of his favorite artists are, like Son House.
Son House, dude. I have a whole double album saved of Son House, and he comes on, and yeah, it's that kind of thing. It's like, okay,
Dude.
I get the importance. You know, I intellectually get the
I
importance of
now
Son House.
because I'm feeling it, and I got a couple drinks in me here.
Let's hear Icky Thump.
So one of my favorite solos on Icky Thump has to be because all these songs are good. Every single song is good. It's not the Icky Thump solo. What solo am I thinking about? Is it?
It might be Icky Thump. Let it play for a little bit.
It's this one.
It hits.
If you never better, I'm gonna lay right into you. I don't know what to do. No, yeah, you do as you're told. Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! Music and the musical depth is ain't much,
Yeah.
but oh my goodness
I mean, dude,
gracious!
it's deceptive because I was hearing some Dorian stuff in there too. We were talking about that,
Goodness
that
gracious.
riff earlier, man. The Lenny Kravitz riff. It sounds like it's just pentatonic, but no, he's got that major
Oh,
six in there
man.
too.
Dude, and to go on like a drummer tantrum. I don't want a better drummer. People complain about Meg White's like lack of ability. I don't want anybody better than that. Like
No.
it's like not off rhythm, but it's not pocket. You know what I mean? Like it's like stiff. Like if you watch her play live,
Right.
she's all wrist. Like I've taught some drums. she's all wrist. She's like doesn't have that, but like for
Sometimes it's about the sum being greater than
yeah.
the
There's something about it, dude.
Right.
Like I don't want a bass player. I don't want a
the
second guitar
whole
player.
being greater than the sum of the parts. That's what I'm looking for. So
man.
Led Zeppelin is that, right?
Yeah.
Because John Bonham, he has that kind of drag behind the beat feel. Jimmy
And he's
Page
solid.
rushes.
Yes,
Jimmy Page is ahead of them.
sloppy.
Yeah.
He's sloppy as hell.
I mean, if you want to get blunt and call him sloppy, yeah, he's sloppy.
he's sloppy.
Right?
He's sloppy, but
He's not the
and
cleanest guitar
He's
player.
lucky that he had a drummer like John Bonham.
It's
Because
right.
John Bonham is so good.
And-
Because most drummers like looking at the Black Dog riff, like, dude, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Like, I
That's right.
can't line up with that. Like, you know, you have to count Black Dog with it's like 9 or 11.
I can't count it.
It's ridiculous.
What key is it even in? B?
It's here.
But the point is, you take Jimmy Page's, like, you listen to the Heartbreaker solo, isolated. It is sloppy. It is not clean. But you combine that with John Bonham's drumming and Robert Plant's brilliant singing. It's a magic chemistry that just cannot be matched.
I've said
you just
yeah,
can't. You
yeah.
can't.
Bonham is lucky he had. I mean, Jimmy Page is lucky he had John Bonham, because he was like, "Oh, that doesn't make any sense, but it sounds so good. I'll make it work. Don't worry about it. I'll add like another beat here, and then we'll count to 9. It's fine. You know,
Yep.
it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. So there's a magical chemistry that can happen there, and maybe that's Meg White and Jack White, man. You know,
Exactly.
similar vibe.
Wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
Not change it for the world. Yeah. Oh, this whole freaking album, dude.
Yeah, I didn't dive into that album. One of my favorite riffs of his was Blue Orchid.
Okay. Yeah.
What key was that in?
Let's see how good your ear is.
Let's see.
That's it.
A? So is it A pentatonic? But he's got a... no, it's G.
There you go. Yeah. And tone, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude. And look at us. We're both like this.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's the thing about, dude. Guys, good music. You can have pros that have been doing the same shit for 30 years. If you get a band that just hits it right, it just stank all day.
I want to know what guitar he's playing, because if you've watched...
The tone
It
is
might get...
unbelievable.
what's it called? It might get loud, right?
Yes.
The opening clip is Jack White taking a 2x4.
We gotta watch that.
And what does he have as a bridge? You know, he takes a 2x4 and basically nails guitar strings to the 2x4
He's like
with a
smoking
pickup.
cigarette. It's like,
What are you
oh,
doing?
it's so good, dude.
He talks about how a
coolest thing.
plastic guitar is his favorite guitar. You know,
Yeah,
literal
he's-
plastic guitar.
And like, not to throw shade on successful guitar players, The Edge had no business in that fucking documentary, bro. Yeah, Jimmy Page in The Edge, bro. The Edge.
Well,
Dude, look at my man here. I love it.
look at that. So what's he using? He's got a 2x4, some nails.
And his bow tie.
He's
Some
Jack White, man.
cows.
Oh, okay, so it's not even multiple strings. It's
No, it was one string.
One
and just some
string.
nails.
Some nails.
Coke
oh,
bottle-
Coke
Coke
bottle
bottle.
bridge. Wow.
And by the way, this might be a little hint to some future videos we might have coming up here.
Whatever that means.
Will
All
it
right.
guitar?
So what is he doing right there? He's put another little piece of wood, a shim, I guess to bring the pickup close enough to the string.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So he's got his guitar pickup.
Fucking cool dude.
He's
Cool
nailed.
dude.
He's nailed a guitar pickup to a 2x4. He's used a Coke bottle as a bridge for a single string.
He plays it angry.
He could write a whole
he
White
hits a
Stripes
cigarette.
album with that.
Yeah, and he gets a cigarette.
It's guitar.
Who says you need to buy a guitar?
Jack White, man. I love that guy.
Cool dude, man.
And listen
Yeah.
to that. So they juxtapose that opening clip with an actual guitar. How different does it really sound?
He's kind of playing the same riff. I think that's what they do. Yeah. Yeah, special dude. Special dude.
Yeah, he is. So this documentary is definitely worth a
Very
watch.
cool. Very cool. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen this, it might get loud. I think Martin Scorsese.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
My man.
I don't know. I might be talking my ass, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about who produced it, but it's a brilliantly done documentary. You really get a good glimpse into the mind of... Oh, you know what that documentary exposed me to was Jimmy Page jamming out to Link Ray.
Oh,
Rumble.
Yeah.
And I teach that to everybody now.
Best solo of all time.
That's all you need. You don't even
Yeah,
need
dude.
anything else, man.
You really don't. I mean,
Brilliant.
If it's good enough for fucking Quentin Tarantino Pulp Fiction, it's good enough for you to learn that. You know.
But to watch Jimmy Page's expression while he's listening to that again, he must have listened to that how many hundreds of times in his whole life.
Yeah.
You know, because this is an older Jimmy Page rocking out to Link Ray. He's loving it. And that's what sold it to me. I was like, I'm going to get that. I got to
Yeah.
listen to that song.
By the way, I was wrong. It definitely wasn't.
Not
Definitely,
Scorsese.
definitely wasn't Scorsese.
All right.
that was Give Me Shelter. The Stones in the Stones movie about that crazy. You know what that's about?
No.
I'm not really a Stones fan, so like I'm only kind of tangentially known about that. But it's about a gig that the Rolling Stones had where they hired the Hells Angels as security for the show, and people died.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy thing.
Wow.
You like the Stones?
I do like some of their songs for sure. Yeah, I was talking to somebody actually yesterday in a lesson about forgive me for not remembering the context, but we were talking about Satisfaction, how Keith Richards said he woke up from one of his benders and he doesn't remember writing this.
Which is so funny.
But he had
because-
it on tape and he was like, oh yeah, that's brilliant. And they turned it into one of the most recognizable hits of all time.
And it's just okay. So the first time you played that, I thought it was just A 1, 2, 3, minor 3,
It's a D over A.
D
Yeah.
over A. It makes more sense, yeah. But still, the simplicity of that riff
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
And it's brilliant. It's a brilliant song. I can't get no satisfaction.
It reminds me of Mike Dirnt from Green Day wrote the bass line for Longview when he was on acid and then forgot it and then took
Yeah.
like a month to remember what it was.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's one of the biggest songs.
And I hate to talk about this in a way because you don't want to incentivize that kind of thing, right? You don't want to say, oh, you need to go on a bender and write a hit riff. But there is some, like, why does that happen? Why do you get lost in some other realm and you come back with a brilliant riff? It's only 3 notes. What is that?
Yeah.
You know, because it happens time and time again.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing in the world. How
There-
the simplest
At,
things.
at the very least, there's a strong correlation between guys who are heavily drug addicted and writing brilliant music. There's just a correlation, you know. Just observing a pattern, and that's what we do as guitar players. By the way, we just observe patterns, and as musicians, that's all this is.
Analyzing patterns.
We're analyzing patterns. You know. That's a nice little spin on it.
When you say D, yeah. I think I taught what's that one that I really enjoyed their guitar work on one. So every time I would teach a Rolling Stones song, I would like them more. So before I was kind of whatever in Rolling
Well,
Stones.
let me ask you this: what tuning do you teach it in?
Standard, always standard.
What tuning did he play in?
I would assume standard, but I guess I'm wrong.
Open G tuning was his go-to.
Really?
Yeah, so he had a movable bar chord.
Give me Shelters when I taught, and I was like, okay, I think
Yeah.
I like the Stones more.
So I was a teacher at the School of Rock for a long time, and we did a Rolling Stones show, and I taught the whole show in standard. I didn't even know at the time that he was.
And I taught this in standard. Is this in open G?
I believe it is. Because,
Wow.
I mean, look at the voicing. When do you ever see this? You have C sharp major, sus 4 to major, B major, sus 4 to major.
I mean, if you're a Van Halen fan, that's pretty standard. That's how I taught it.
Yeah, no, I wish we were in open G because I don't know the shapes off the top of my head. I can't retune with a floating bridge.
Right. That's okay.
But the shapes basically fit like this. Because it's a major chord, C sharp to B to A, right? That's what he's doing. And he's got some moving notes. He's doing this. Boom. Just like that. I really like Brown Sugar. But yeah, man, I won't get tired of the Stones, to be honest with you. Now that I'm listening to it, I could listen to the Stones. I wasn't thinking of Brown Sugar, I was thinking something. This is a good one, too. You gotta pull up the track list. It's on this album, I think. Yeah, see, it's a good one.
Sounds really good.
Let's see. Beast of Burden, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, Beast of Burden.
Yeah, you know Beast of Burden?
Yeah, of course.
Because that's pretty accessible too in standard tuning. Let's see if I remember. Is it in C? Dude, you know what this reminds me of? Tell me what modern song this sounds kind of like. All right, let's see. Ready?
Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA.
No wonder.
Song rips, bro.
No wonder I love Beast of Burden because
This
I
reminds me of
love.
Miley Cyrus. Different key, right? It's higher key, right?
Yeah, she brings it up a whole step. But honestly, now she probably sings with an E, because her voice has dropped. You know.
One of the best, like, you know those feelings like when you're playing a song and you just get so like just a dopamine dump.
Are you talking about Party?
Yeah, dude. The night, of course, my channel has so few views that you can't even fucking search it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you did a metal cover of this. I think I remember that.
Yeah. That's bad, where you can't even search it. And when I played this song, I was just like, I had such a good time.
Man,
took it
I was into Chick Rock. You probably came out and see us. I think you saw us once.
I saw it.
Yeah, it was a cover band. We did that song. Do you remember we did that?
Yeah.
And I got heavy on one of the choruses. Because was it? We did it. I think we did it in E though. So yeah, Beast of Burden key. So. You could definitely rock that.
Yeah, for sure.
Fatten that up for sure. I still hear Party in the USA in there now. How many guitar parts are layered in there? There's like 4 guitar parts in there. There's your 5. You feel that tension in the 5. There's your 1. 6, 4, 1. Walk to the 6, the 4, to the 1. Changes it. Four to 3. It's actually an inverted 1.
Let me ask you this. So, because most songs don't surprise you, right? As far as chord progressions and where they're going, they don't really surprise
Sometimes,
you.
well, like right there, my instinct was that's a 3.
But you saw it instantly. My question, where I'm leading to, is what still excites you when you hear something that you like? So you're like, when something piques your interest, you're like, I like this, even though you're like, oh, that's 1, that's a 3, that's 6. What is it about that still makes you want to know what's going on? So sometimes when you see how the sausage is made, it ruins it for you.
Yeah. Okay, so I like this question because I remember hearing Billy Joel for the longest time as a child in the backseat of my parents' car. This is one of my earliest memories. And I had butterflies. There was something about that progression in that song that gave me butterflies listening to it. So happy, right? And then I went to play it. So you can see I enjoy this, right? I enjoy it still. It's like I know exactly what's happening theoretically. I don't have the butterflies anymore, like the mystery of it. But the way that the music is put together, it still has a similar effect on me. I just enjoy the way it sounds. And
Is it one of those things where it's like,
I don't know, the way I put it now is I have cheap taste. Like I don't really get off on jazz harmony and like being completely lost in the weeds and kind of hearing the 2-5-1s going through the different keys, because that's kind of what jazz is to me. It's like it's a bunch of 2-5-1s, you know? But I don't identify them right away. I have to search for them.
right?
This is like spoon-fed 1, 6, 4, and 5. And I kind of like that,
Yeah.
you know? I just kind of do.
That's what's so beautiful about music is where you can know how the sausage is made, but you're still able to enjoy it in the same way, almost deeper, because I remember one of the highest compliments that you paid one of my bands, Honey Tomb. Clancy is just an artist, right? He's not a scientist. He's not a musical scientist, and you're like, wow, I wish I wrote that riff.
Yeah.
Like, and as soon as you heard it, you're like, simplest thing in the world. It's like,
Yeah.
I wish I would have wrote that.
Yeah.
And the same way I can listen to Jeff Porcaro play
Yep.
I'm like, oh man, he can play that 2 and 4 better than I can ever play, and all he's playing is the first beat you ever know.
He barely does fills. He barely does fills.
God.
You pointed that out to me with another pocket drummer, a local pocket drummer that you like. You're like, he doesn't play fills. He doesn't need them.
Yes.
So he doesn't need them.
Yes, the drummer for Pressing Strings, Justin from Pressing Strings. The dude is all groove, all pocket. He plays the first groove you ever learn on guitar, and you'll never, ever want to hear anything else. That's all you want to hear is just that, because it's just all groove all day. And that's what's cool about music is you can know everything there is to know, and you can. But there's something about that one guy that plays that one G chord that one way. You're like, wow, that just gets me. You know, that's cool though. That's kind of magical because you think about it. If you think about it, like, if I know how it's made, why would I want to listen to it anymore? But you know,
No, and it's like there's more to it than that. There's more to the song than the progression. Like you have the human element of Billy Joel's voice not being auto-tuned. Like he's singing that. I don't know how many parts in there he's actually singing himself. It might be all of his voice. It sounds like him.
I've gone this far, and it's more than I hoped for.
Is that all Billy Joel? He's a brilliant vocalist.
Further we'll go.
He has perfect vowels, perfect control of his voice.
I'll be sorry when
Except right there.
it's almost like 50s.
He's a little flat, but it's like appealing.
It's human.
It's human. Maybe that's the maybe he's got that perfect pitch of like the slightly flat 3 that sounds better, you know?
So what was it about The Longest Time that really spoke to you when you were a kid?
I don't know what it is. That's what I can't put my finger. It's like when you're a kid and like, you ever have these just fleeting memories of being a kid, like looking at the street light and it just brings you warmth.
Basket Case. Green Day Basket Case.
There you go.
It was not about the vibe because I didn't know what angst was. I didn't want to rebel. I didn't particularly like the heaviness because I was listening to heavy stuff. But it was something about the melody that spoke to me when I heard Basket Case the first time. There was something about the melody. I didn't know what band it was. I didn't know what it was, but something about it. I was like, I dig this. There was something about it.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's almost like 50s, like surf rock.
It's the same 4 chords. It's a 1, 5, 6, 4. Here's your 4. There's your 5. There's your 6. 1, excuse me. They're half step down, aren't they?
Yeah.
So if you want to correlate that to For the Longest Time, it's the same 4 chords.
Yeah.
It's 1, 6, 4, and 5. And this is all of pop music. It's 1, 6, 4, and 5. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. But if you have to place bets, pick those 4. 1, 6, 4, 5.
Why do you think this? So there's so many like pretentious jazz guys or classical guys, or like even like what's called the American Songbook, who like kind of shun the like rock and roll, but when they really don't understand this, it's the same thing that they've been hearing. Like, what is it you think about those 4 chords? And it may be like you said, the same collection of 4 chords, or a different connection that's very similar. What is it about those 4 that we just center ourselves around so much? It's really amazing.
I don't know, man. It's so first of all, I want to go back because you said they shun, and I want to.
It happened. They do. I've heard it.
I don't know if they shun it or if they want to get away. They strive to get away.
Get away from it. Yes.
They strive to get away from it.
Yes.
But that just innately sounds so good, and it's so appealing to us. So we were talking off camera about dichotomy. Music is dichotomy. And this is a recent concept that I'm being hit with. So multiple dichotomies. space, sound, rest and notes, right? That's a-
Tension release.
Tension, release. Exactly. We were talking about the leading tone earlier. The tension is in the leading tone or the 5 chord, and the release is in the 1 chord or the tonic, right? And that is the dichotomy. So yeah, kick it back over a little bit. The dichotomy. So there's also a dichotomy in novelty and familiarity. So we're familiar with 1, 6, 4, and 5, but there are so many ways that you can put those chords together, so many melodies you can pair those with. It's like you can have a new song. I taught a new song today I hadn't heard. It's called Locksmith. It's by Sadie. She's a young girl. She's the next Billie Eilish, probably, right?
Sadie Jean?
Sadie Jean? Beautiful song. 6, 4, 1,
I've heard it a million times.
5.
Yeah.
6, 4, 1, 5. The whole song is 4 chords. The same 4 chords as. It's beautiful.
I need to move on. I think you do too.
It's amazing. It's the same
There you
thing
go.
you've heard a million times.
So maybe this is a dichotomy for you. Lyrical, instrumental. Right? You have lyrics and you have instrumental, and they play around each other. You know, sometimes they oppose each other in a tasteful way. And sometimes the lyrics will say stop, and the music stops, right?
Right.
So sometimes they support each other in that way. But music is these dichotomies. And I think there's something about the familiarity aspect of those same 4 chords over and over again. But how many different ways can we do this? Listen, I haven't heard this song until today, and I think it's a beautiful song. I love this song, you know? First time I heard it today.
But it's the same thing you've heard since
Exactly.
you were 5 years old.
Exactly. Brand new song, but at the same time, I've heard this song thousands of times.
Yeah.
What is that?
But you're not sick of it. And
Not
that's
sick
the
of it.
thing that I tell people, like, don't be discouraged of, studying for 10,000 hours and think you're going to get sick of it. You won't get sick of this. You won't get sick of the simplest things you've heard forever.
That's right.
And it's only music. It's only, I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Only, actually, it's not, because think about sports. It's the same thing, but it's just a different guy.
But think about this. Let's talk about my musical background. When I picked up a guitar, I wanted to be the best. And I can relate to John Mayer in this way because he tells a very similar story. He went to Berkeley. He's like, I'm going to be the best guitarist. And then he had a revelation listening to Radiohead that I don't want to be the best. What does that even mean? It's unattainable. It's not an attainable goal. It's completely subjective. I want to be listenable, like Radiohead, right? I can't remember the album he was referring to. But for me, I wanted to be a shredder. I wanted to play as fast as I could and get my chops to be as crazy as they could be. But then I would turn on like easy listening radio and I'd be jamming to OMD, If You Leave, you know? And it's the same 4 chords, you know, or 3 chords. I'm listening to Human League, Don't You Want Me. Now I have toddlers and they ask me for these songs because I'm always listening. I'm listening to this cheap like 80s pop, but I love it. And at the same time, I still want to shred. So I have like this adrenaline junkie shredder brain, but I fall for those same 4 chords. 4, 5, 1.
And I would argue that in your shredder phase, the band that you identify with the most, Children of Bodom, they scratch the itch because
do.
someone like me who is more like rock, contemporary, like mainstream stuff, like I liked, Green Day and Zeppelin and the Beatles and Mayer and all those like stuff that's like accessible.
Yep.
I loved Bodom.
Yeah.
Because I pulled Bodom, I was like, these guys fucking scratch
They
that
do.
itch. There's a different color, just different flavor. It's the same thing I've
It
been
is.
hearing.
They have that pop, like,
They really do.
accessible progression
They really
behind
do.
everything.
It's like, it's metal for everybody.
Yep.
Like, if you want to introduce anybody to like melodic death metal, wait, is Bodom death metal? I don't want to.
Yeah, melodic death metal. But look, I love this because we're coming full circle. We started this stream listening to Polyphia, and we were talking about that, how they're all this face-melting shred, maybe not so appealing, but when you boil it down to the basic chords, it really is. It's accessible. It's those pretty fundamental chords, you know? Oh, I love this song. I wanted to do a full analysis on this song. It's 4 chords, going through certain key changes. We're gonna have to break the song down pretty soon.
I'm down. It's a classic.
1, 6, 4, 5. What key are we in right now? G. Then we go to a 3. To a 4. Oh. 1, 6, 4, 5. 1, 6, 4, 5. Key change. Are we in A?
Yeah, you've talked about this before. The key change in the song.
We're actually in E. So it's an E1, 4A, 5B, back to the 4A, back to the 1. Oh no, key change.
Another one.
We're in F. Is that 5, 3, 1, G, A. No, we're in D. It's D. See, this is why I gotta break this down. It throws you off.
We got to, dude. It's unbelievable.
This is the most brilliant 80s song that we forgot about.
That's a good that's a good title. I think those brilliant songs that we forgot
Back to
about.
E, man. And there's 2 parts. So, let's pause for a second. There's 2 parts to the song. A section is a 1, 6, 4, 5. Sometimes a 3 pops in, right? The B section, the chorus, is only 1, 4, and 5. But the way they change keys, and they're only shifting keys by whole steps. You know, if you actually break it down on paper.
Right.
And
that's the most common key change, by the way.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson would just go up whole steps, like how as he,
Yeah.
and most of the time, you're gonna hear a whole step key change from usually up a key is what you usually.
But notice what happened there. This is the dichotomy of familiarity and novelty. Is like I can tell you exactly what the progression is, but I tried to play it and I was wrong. I was like, it goes to A, right? It was like, oh wait, nope, no, it was D.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's the fun of it. It's like, whoa, I thought it was this. No, I discovered something new.
The song is musically ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's so listenable.
It's very listenable.
Yeah, we talked about this very recently
Yep.
about the absurd key changes. It's almost like the producers like, let's see how many key changes we can get away with without anybody noticing, you know?
Right. Well, Rick Beato posted a video kind of lamenting, like, oh, I miss key changes.
Yeah.
When's the last time
And
we had
Bridges. Remember that too? Like Bridges, like I've heard many people say, "Oh, that song's got a bridge." Like
Yeah,
just
bridges. Yeah.
just the fact that songs have a bridge that it you know.
Bridges in the 80s, man. Brilliant bass line too. Oh, it's gonna go up to the G. By the way, they have a changing chord progression over top of a repeating melody. Change. Change. So you get some color tones in there as a result of that, you know? Yeah, no. All happening over change. I love that song. So there you go. That's a glimpse into my mind and my musical taste. Is some 80s pop. I love that stuff.
Yeah, especially when it goes deep to like deep, awesome theory and accessible theory. Like, why do I like this so much?
Yeah. I wish Colin was still on because then we could pull up Chinese Restaurant by Baltimora and talk about the major 3 popping up.
I want to know who our one viewer is.
That's what I want to know too. I think we know who that probably is.
No, she's asleep.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's our one viewer?
Who's our one viewer?
Do us a favor. Drop a comment in there. Say hi.
For real, because this has been a great stream.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Yeah, it really has.
Are we wanking or? It's
No.
11:30. We've been doing this an hour and a half. Oddly enough. Wow. It flew by.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yes.
Yes,
No,
wow.
it's been fantastic.
It's been fun for us at least. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Obviously, this video is going to be going on as a long form video. This was fantastic. This was so much fun. This is basically me and Brian just hanging out as we always do, and this is going to be really big. I really like this stuff. I can't imagine when we get some people in here that are just asking questions and stuff.
Hopefully we can keep up.
That's going to be our big thing.
John and Colin were keeping us on our toes earlier.
Yes, but this is going to be our big thing. We're going to be sitting here hanging out, having some drinks, playing some guitar, taking some questions. This was fantastic. Like, even we're having a blast, even though it's just the two of us. So I can't imagine we have 500 to 1,000 people watching this. This is so good. Yeah, I'm digging this for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, this was fun.
Should we finish the stream with some fails and then call it a day?
Let's fail it.
So let's watch some guitar fails and then we'll call it a night. And we and Brian will be doing this very soon.
Yeah.
Because this was great. This is the beginning of the biggest guitar channel on YouTube for sure. Fuck, here we go.
We can make that a goal. Let's make that a goal.
We're gonna watch some guitar fails here.
What just happened right there?
We're gonna see.
What was that?
Here we go. Watch some guitar fails here. Uh-oh.
No!
Oh, dude, his voice.
he's
No!
No!
My man.
He's into it.
He's into it. He's probably saving the headstock. Headstock. Oh, there it goes. Look at the fucking guitar shape. I know that guitar too. It's
Yeah.
gone. Bye-bye.
That's painful. That one.
Satchel. There it is.
It's either planned or like, come on, why do you even try that anymore? it's so okay. That was clearly planned. That's something that would happen to me.
Dude, look at the font behind him.
It's just fuzz, man. It's just fuzz.
Oh, busted.
Oh.
Totally busted.
Blame it on the loop pedal. Blame it on the loop pedal.
Oh, this is TV. Poor dude.
Oh. You're calling it, man.
Bravan. Froska Closecliff. Oh, he's got the upside down American flag. And the DC sticker.
Whoops. I've done that.
7-string PRS.
And some corn.
That wasn't that Philly.
Hey guys, I'd like
Camera
to play a
got
song
messed
for you, and it goes a little something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, this is so
Whoa.
set up.
How does that happen?
So set up.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, this reminds me of Guitar Center days.
Guitar Center.
The Schecter C1. God, this is real, by the way. This is how those dudes fucking were. I remember that distinctly.
Yeah.
Distinctly. Back when I was working at Guitar Center, we used to have, and I'm not even kidding, I hope they still have this, in the main office, they had a switch that turned off all the amps. So if it was getting ridiculous, you just go, all right, fuck this. Boom, you would switch it off and then turn all the wankers off.
That's pretty brilliant.
That's what we call them. We call them wankers.
Wankers.
Yeah, this fucking guy here.
Yeah. Wouldn't be Guitar Center without him, though.
This guy makes fake
Please join me for the
videos.
first time to hear how it sounds. And 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, he does a lot of those type videos. He'll like electrocute himself. He likes Buckethead.
He's taking some outside news. That's
He's
okay.
a Buckethead fan.
All right, yeah, he was taking some risks.
Is
it that hard to do?
He's got to commit. He wasn't committing.
I was gonna say that song sounded familiar until that point. Awesome. All right, cool.
I love these. I would say, besides the viewership, successful first stream.
I mean, as expected, that first one.
Absolutely.
We got room to grow.
Yeah.
That's cool. And hopefully we get better at this, you know, and we bring more content that people want to see and participate in, because that's what we want to do, is get people involved and hopefully feel like you're part of this experience in the room with us.
This is a warm up.
Warm up.
We'll be doing more of these. We are signing off. This is Guitar You Serious. First live stream. Rock and roll.
Good night.
Catch you later.
Thanks for hanging.
Yes. Wait. Your brother just signed on. We got Ben here.
Oh, it's Ben.
Ben
Brother.
is here.
Brother, we were about to sign off, man.
Now we're gonna stay. We have to stay now because Ben's here.
Well, it's 11:40. Let's see what we got.
Ben's here. He says sorry I'm late. We gotta
Ben.
stay on for a second for Ben.
We can stay for a second for Ben.
You just got home. We gotta stay on for Ben. Ben, what should we talk about while you're here, buddy? This is our first live stream, and it's been successful. He said, "No, you gotta stay.
Yeah,
we gotta stay for Ben for a little bit."
All right, 10 minutes. We'll stretch it 10 minutes.
We're staying because you're
Ben,
not going home just now.
My brother Ben Zamzo is in the house.
Ben was just at the auto bar partying. We're here drinking. I've been drinking.
steady.
I gotta pee again.
I haven't peed once this whole stream.
Which is absurd because I've been.
I'm
drinking
always
it.
the one leaving to pee. Like
been drinking my dick off.
we edit videos and I'm like up in the bathroom every 45 minutes.
Ben, what should we watch right now? We've been talking about mad shit. Yes, we're staying.
Well, yeah, we could always say, "Hey, Ben, just rewind. We're going home."
Ben, what should we watch, Ben? Should we watch something? Should we watch the Nub video? Ben, what should we watch right now? Some guitar. We're watching guitar videos. We've been talking about theory and stuff.
Talking a lot of theory. We came full circle. Talking about theory. Let's see. How about this? Ben, what's this riff?
All right, we're gonna watch the Nub video.
I'm trying to remember this. Did I play Blink or did I play a Ben riff? What did I just play?
Yeah, that's definitely a Blink riff.
What's Ben wrote a riff that was like?
No, he didn't.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit familiar. It sounds like one of those videos where you they play like Bohemian Rhapsody, but the chord progression's kind of off. That sounds like that. Like they didn't want to didn't want to pay for licensing, but they wanted to use Damn It.
There was a riff similar to Damn It, but it was actually pretty cool. I think it was called Hot Girl. Ben, was that Hot Girl? Did I play it right or did I play it wrong?
All right, we're gonna watch a video by Brian's brother. This is a video that I recorded. This is Brian's brother Ben. This is a band called Nub, and it's a song called The Sift.
So take it at face value. Let's pretend I just played a Nub riff, and this is how far they've come.
Yeah, it's He says you played it right. That was your riff, Ben. If that was your fucking riff, bro,
He just said,
play it again.
He just said, I think he played it.
Dude, play it again.
Which one? The first one?
Yeah, play it again. That's like if someone asked you.
Was that the,
It's like someone asked you to rip off Damn It, and that's exactly what that is.
it was something like that.
That's so good. All
That's
right.
cracking up. All right, so this is how far Ben has come with his riff writing.
Yeah, Ben, the master of all trades, the Dave Grohl of Baltimore.
My
Here we
brother.
go. Yeah, analyze it. Can you even analyze it? Can you play it?
Yeah. So you got a minor 1 to a minor 3, to a major 3, whatever that is. So you're in drop C.
Drop C tuning. Yeah, you just said that.
You got the minor 6 to the 1 to the 5 to the flat 5.
There you go.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Bob. We're going to interrupt this song real quick. Is it worth, like, analyzing heavy stuff? Or is it better to think of it as, like, rhythm and, like, shapes?
It depends. So I was listening to After the Burial. Remember we were doing After the Burial years ago?
Classic.
And it's like 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, don't even bother counting it. Count the number of groups the number of note groupings in a row.
Yeah, it's almost
Right?
it's
like-
it's more focused on rhythm and position
Yeah.
than it is actual key and like theory.
And especially because they're not doing a complete phrase. They're doing a phrase of 7 beats inside of a feel of 8 beats. So every phrase, it feels like it's on a different downbeat.
Right.
So in that case, no, don't even analyze it that way. Just
It's not
do the
not,
shortcut, right?
It's not worth it to analyze metal or heavy stuff. It's
Right.
more just like
Yeah.
feel the shapes, feel the vibes, and then like just kind of jam with it.
Yeah. So pause it for another. Oh, brother. Minor 3 to major 3. Love it. Blues.
Minor 3 to major 3.
It's a major to a minor. Right? And then he goes up to the 4 for a second. So, but that's after the fact. I'm hearing this is just heavy riff. And then figure out what it is after the fact. So you got the, it's almost like a blues. So like a, I hear C blues, but you got the major 3rd in there a bunch.
The major
And then
3
this-
is what makes it sound so cool.
That's it. And then the 6 comes in for the chorus.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant. And it's like,
So it actually is, because I've always said it's not really useful to theoretically analyze heavy stuff. Sometimes it's better just to
Yeah.
get the rhythm, get the vibes, get what's going on, get the shapes, and just rock.
Yep.
But what you're doing actually makes sense to kind of see, okay, there's the major 3rd and a major 3 kind of vibe.
well, and that for me is a memory device. It's like now I know the riff and I know what visually is. Minor 3rd, major 3rd, minor.
And that's
then
what makes it
3
sound so
times,
cool.
And then the 4th.
Yep,
I don't know if I did that right.
Ben, we're here. We're getting all your secrets. So
Yeah.
now you have to
There you go.
think of new secrets.
So you
Ben.
just wrote a riff in C blues. And by the way, the minor 3rd to the major 3rd, it's done all the time.
Ben is a blues man. You're
you
a
don't
blue-
even
Ben-
don't even know how influenced by the blues you are. Bro.
Ben is a blues guitar player, dude.
Got that chromatic. Build the tension up. Throw milk.
And I will say, Ben was sick when we filmed that, and Ben was a trooper because he was sick that day.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ben says it goes from 7/8 to 4/4.
Oh, okay.
Did you catch that time signature change?
No, I didn't. I kept getting thrown off by that. And I was like, what's going on right there?
There you go. Well, that's the thing. When you have a guitar player that is a drummer, when you have odd signatures going into even signatures, you shouldn't notice them because he does it smoothly.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's like, I want to make sure this rocks the whole time.
Exactly.
And I don't want people to fucking do math while they're listening to music.
See, I heard that and I was like, oh, I got this. And I tried playing it. And our natural instinct is to play in one time the signature, right? I'm playing in 4. And nope, I missed something.
Yeah. That's
So
what happens when you're
there's that measure of 7/8. that threw
when
me.
your guitar player is the expert drummer. That's what happens.
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, that's the end. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna count that riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, da, 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 da.
Is it 7? Where's the 7? I backed it up, son. I backed it up.
That's all 4. No, that's all 4 right
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
Brilliant. Yeah, so it must have shifted from. Okay, that's what he's saying. So before the vocals, it must have been a shift between 7/8
Before
and
the
4/4.
vocals, yeah.
And then when the vocals hit, it's all 4. I love this part, dude. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 1,
6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's it. Brilliant.
What a good
Brother,
blend. What
brother.
a good blend. What
That's
a
my
good
brother.
blend.
Look at that. And it's seamless, too.
Seriously.
You don't even notice the time change. It's seamless.
Yes, from 7 to 4, it feels so right. Dude, fuck you,
My
Ben.
man, Ben.
Dude, fuck you,
Brother.
Ben. Like, for real. That feels so
Brother.
good. Because you count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
And then it's seamless. You take away one beat, you put it back in. It's brilliant.
It's funny because when I filmed this video, I was listening hooks and sections and just like visuals, but I didn't realize how well that fucking 7/4 to 4/4 works, dude. And that is the key to fucking good odd signatures.
Yeah.
Is you shouldn't hear it. That's so good. Fuck you, Ben. Fuck you, Ben. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. Okay. The last measure, man. The last measure of the transition is the new time signature.
Yeah.
Man.
It's expert. It's expert level like blending for sure.
So this, okay, we're going to talk about this in the future. There's a adult learning model. There's 4 quadrants. So when you learn a new skill, you hear somebody else do it and you've never done it before, and it's called unconscious incompetence. And that's when you're like,
oh yeah,
I can do that.
That's right.
I can do that, no problem, easy. I can do that.
Yep.
And then you try it, and then you're in quadrant 2, which is conscious incompetence. You're like, wow, this is really hard. I suck. I got a lot of work to do. Shoot. Then you start working on the skill months and months, and you can do it. It's like, okay, I got this conscious competence. I got to think about it, but I can do it, right?
Being aware of what stage you're in.
Being aware, and it's like
Yeah.
all your mental faculties are used up to get the skill to work.
Yeah.
The final quadrant, the final stage is unconscious competence.
Yep.
You can do it so well, it's like breathing and you forget.
Yes. Yes.
Unconscious competence.
Yeah.
That's what this nub song is right there.
For
'Cause
sure.
Look at that. I didn't know. I wouldn't call it blues. It's blues. You're playing blues. You're playing blues.
Blues. It's a hey Ben. It's a blues song.
Let's listen to this
This
blues
is a
song.
blues song, bro.
That tone too. That tone is so thick.
Yeah.
Some fuzz tone, man.
Yeah, that's Ben and Justin Day and Ben.
Is that a fuzz face?
Yo, dude,
Is
Ben,
that a fuzz face?
please, Ben, tell us the gear. Ben is Mr. Gear now. Because Ben's a guitar player, bass player now, so he's like Mr.
Yeah.
fucking Gear, and he works at a guitar shop, so he's like everything.
It's funny because I'm using this. I played Christopher Cross all right with the same tone, and now I'm trying to play nub. No, okay, we're not getting tone secrets.
Yeah, Ben won't tell us the secrets, but you know what? Because of that, we're gonna play Christopher Cross, and that's you get that.
Just go right to the solo. Let's see if I can play this solo, man. It's the best part anyway.
Nothing matters. Love will find us, the past behind us, and we're on our way.
I got like halfway, maybe. That part, man, that.
Yes. Try again.
By the way, it's that part. That's not happening tonight. It's not. It's not happening tonight.
No, it sounds great. You did so good. It sounds so good, dude.
His phrasing is just, it's impossible to match.
Dude,
By the way,
it's fucking Steve Lukather.
he
bro.
plays eights. He plays 8-gauge strings, so
Right.
his bending is just immaculate.
By
he
the
doesn't
way,
barely
by the way, Derek St. Ohms 8s
eight.
on
crazy.
a
craziness.
fucking 59 Les Paul on a $300,000 guitar. He'd play 8s.
Let me see if I'm gonna. See, I was in the wrong key. I was like, "What am I playing? What key am I even playing?" That's the hard part. You cannot emulate this part.
All right,
And it's the
Right.
vibrato. You cannot emulate his vibrato.
Brian,
Perfect.
do you want to stay on or do you want to end it now?
We gotta
please?
end it, man. It's
'Cause I gotta
late.
pee. All right, Ben.
It's late.
Thanks
All
for
right.
coming and spicing up the ending of this
brother.
fucking stream, dude. Rock and roll. We're gonna be doing a lot of this. This was so good.
This is fun.
We're gonna be posting this full live stream, this full 3 hour live stream. We're gonna be doing more of these. We're gonna end it abruptly right now. Rock and roll. We love all of our 6 viewers that watched. This
Oh,
was
there's
great.
3 now. Sweet.
Yeah. This is going to happen a lot more. This
gonna
was
do more.
so good.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Peace out. Cheers.
Awesome, brother.